Chapter 133 Chapter 133 Peak Duel 1. Chapter 133 Peak Duel 1. Yang Tianming is here. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge me? This sect will accept it. Yang Tianming's face revealed an excited expression. He looked down on the world with a domineering aura as his sharp eyes swept across all the martial artists. Is there nothing else? Your Majesty, please make the decision and bestow the marriage to Tianming. Yang Tianming looked at all the martial artists, but no one came forward to challenge him. Indeed, even Shenluo Mingqing had been defeated. Who else would fight for first place? However, none of the martial artists expected Yang Tianming to request for a marriage to Nangong Haoming. As everyone knew, Nangong Haoming had 3 princesses and 2 princes. The second and third princesses were already married. Only Princess Chang Nangong Mingyue was not married yet. Naturally, Yang Tianming wanted the emperor to bestow the eldest princess to him. Nangong Mingyue was also stunned. She didn't expect things to turn out this way. She knew that her father's plan was to choose the prince consort this time. Now that Yang Tianming was ranked first on the prodigy roll and had proposed, her father would definitely agree. It was just that she had never thought that she would be marrying someone in her 30s or 40s. She suddenly felt a little sad. This was the sorrow of being a child of the royal family. She was high and mighty, but she had no choice. Everyone was silent as they waited for Nangong Haoming's reply. To everyone, this was a joyous occasion. But at this moment, a faint voice sounded. The Yang family is so fucking embarrassing. They don't even look at their pig-like appearance. They still have the face to show off here. If it were me, I would have hidden long ago. Shock and shock filled the square. Although the voice was calm, it was not soft. In addition, there was a sound amplification stone in the square, so the voice spread to everyone's ears. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw Li Lingtian standing up on the steps. He stretched as if he had just woken up. Yang Qingtian's expression was extremely ugly. He actually cursed the Yang family in front of everyone. He was extremely furious. Last time they lost more than 20 martial kings outside the city gate, and the authority of the city defense team was taken away. It was all because of this youth, and now he was insulting the Yang family. It was unbearable. Tian, her big brother Ling Tian, Li Suifeng, his wife, and Tang Ziming were shocked beyond words. They knew a little about Li Lingqian's personality, but under such circumstances, why would he provoke Yang Tianming, the number 1 on the prodigy roll? Tang Ziming looked at Li Lingtian with her bright eyes. She had a bad feeling. Could it be that brother Lingtian insulted the Yang family after hearing Yang Tianming's proposal? It was no wonder that she would think so, since Li Lingtian had pursued the eldest princess before. Mingming, do you believe me? Sometimes a man will not fall behind when he has to do something. Li Lingtian looked at Tang Ziming with a serious expression. He felt a little guilty. He was not doing this for the Sons of Heaven rankings, but for Nangong Mingyue. However, it wasn't because Nangong Mingyue was proposed to by Yang Tianming. It was because Nangong Mingyue owed him something, and he had to pay back what he owed. Otherwise, his cultivation would never be able to advance. In the depths of his soul, Nangong Mingyue and Tang Ziming were the only ones with regrets. Now that Tang Ziming had him to take care of her, he would not mistreat her. However, Nangong Mingyue had to settle the debt she owed Li Lingtian. I believe in big brother Ling Tian. Tang Ziming looked into Li Lingtian's eyes and nodded earnestly. Li Lingtian had mentioned that she was his fiancée. Oh, I don't believe you, you bastard. Are you going to let Mingming suffer? Tang Qingyue could not stand it anymore. She knew that Li Lingtian had pursued Nangong Mingyue before. Now that such a thing had happened, she naturally misunderstood Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian walked down step by step without turning his head. There was a faint smile in his eyes. Li Lingtian, do you have the guts to step onto the arena? Yang Tianming suppressed his anger. In the arena, facing hundreds of thousands of martial artists, he wouldn't lose his composure because his image was important. If he destroyed his image for an ant, he would be stupid. Yang Tianming, goading me is useless. If one want to look for you, even the gods can't stop me. If I don't want to pay attention to you, even the gods can't persuade me. You are very lucky today. The The prodigy role is not something trash like you can enter. This young master is ashamed to be in your company. As Li Lingtian spoke calmly, he walked up the 10-meter-tall arena and stood at the edge of the arena. He glared at Yang Tianming coldly as he began to plan his next move. Could it be that young noble Ling Tian wants to challenge the number 1 on the prodigy roll? The hearts of the people aren't satisfied. He's already ranked 7th on the prodigy roll, yet he still wants to challenge the number 1. He's just looking for trouble. It can't be because of the eldest princess, right? It seems like young noble Ling Tian pursued the eldest princess in Sky Cloud sect. So that's why. If young noble Ling Tian is willing to challenge an omnipotent expert for me, I'm willing to die. All the martial artists were guessing constantly, and some young girls were even more infatuated. On the steps and in the square, some super experts were looking curiously at the 2 martial artists on the stage. Could it really be for me? Nangong Mingyue was shocked. She couldn't describe what she was feeling. This young man she looked down on had once ignored her, but now he was fighting the number 1 on the prodigy roll, Yang Tianming, for her. Li Suifeng and his wife looked solemn, but they did not say a word. Tang Qingyue's expression was ugly. She gently hugged Tang Ziming and said something softly, as if she was comforting Tang Ziming. Tang Zicheng and his wife's expressions were also extremely ugly. Their future son-in-law, whom they were so proud of, had actually done such a thing. However, the rest of the warriors were looking curiously at Yang Tianming and Li Lingtian to see how Li Lingtian would get off the stage. What's wrong? You want to fight me? Yang Tianming laughed out loud as if he had just encountered the funniest thing. A martial spirit realm cultivator had managed to enter the prodigy role by luck. Could it be that he wanted to make a move against him now? Who do you think you are? Don't overestimate yourself. Heaven flipping seal, the power of heaven and earth. Li Lingtian glared at Yang Tianming coldly as he waved his right hand in a strange manner at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, a huge palm print was hurled down at Yang Tianming. The space carried the power of heaven and earth. Li Lingtian's aura was integrated with the power of heaven and earth. The answer to Yang Tianming was an attack. This was the answer. There was no need for nonsense. All of the cultivators were stunned. They really dared to attack Yang Tianming. Moreover, the speed of this attack was several times faster than the previous sky-turning seal. Damn it! Heavenly Monarch Crimson Light, behead. Yang Tianming was also shocked. He used his divine sense and a peerless profound level weapon appeared. Suddenly, a destructive force bombarded the heaven-flipping seal. A Tier 6 martial arts grandmaster, number 1 on the Sons of Heaven roll. He was indeed powerful. The 2 attacks collided fiercely. A shocking explosion sounded and the arena shook. Heaven and earth-shattering break. Li Lingtian smiled bitterly in his heart. He could not defeat Yang Tianming, who was a Tier 6 martial arts grandmaster. Otherwise, he would not have taken the initiative to strike first. However, Yang Tianming was completely fine under the heaven-flipping seal's attack. Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch's attack and the heaven-flipping seal's giant palm print disappeared. Facing such an expert, he did not dare to hesitate. If he lost the initiative, he would lose his life. A destructive force slammed into the arena. Suddenly, countless shocking forces soared into the sky and quickly bombarded Yang Tianming. Spiral Shield, suppress. Yang Tianming was also extremely surprised. This youth's strength was indeed not simple. He had used 2 Earth rank skills in a row. His strength was also extremely powerful. Although he could not compare to Shenluo Qingming, not many people could defeat this youth. Rumble! 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 Explosions were heard from the arena as Li Lingtian continued to unleash his powerful attacks. For a moment, the 2 of them were evenly matched. However, no matter how Li Lingtian attacked, Yang Tianming easily countered it. Everyone knew that Li Lingtian had the upper hand, or else he would have failed long ago. Li Lingtian understood that a warrior ascendant could at least fly in the air. His true essence was countless times stronger than his vital energy. If he hadn't used his ultimate moves to tie Yang Tianming down, he would have been completely defeated when Yang Tianming flew into the sky. 2. Ice Vitality Divine Fist Icebound 1000 miles. Dominating Heaven Fist, Destruction. Thousand Shadow Petals. One powerful attack after another was unleashed. Immediately, there was no longer a single martial artist within 500 meters of the arena. They used their protective shields to watch the shocking battle on the arena from afar. Li Lingtian knew that it was almost impossible for him to win. Yang Tianming's strength was beyond his imagination. Rumble. With a loud explosion, Li Lingtian's body was thrown out. He spat out a mouthful of blood before he fell onto the arena. Big brother Ling Tian, Tianhe, Tang Ziming and Li Suifeng were heartbroken. A warrior spirit realm was fighting against the #1 prodigy of the martial sect, and he had the upper hand, yet he was still heavily injured. Yang Tianming's entire body was covered in a layer of powerful light shield. Li Lingtian's attacks were powerful, but his cultivation base was still too low to break through Yang Tianming's defense. After injuring Li Lingtian, Yang Tianming's face was filled with killing intent. This young man was only 16 years old now. If he was given a few more years, he would be threatened as well. Now, he was going to kill the genius in the cradle. Humph, the light of a firefly can be compared to the brilliance of the moon. In the eyes of others, you are a genius, but in front of my sect, you are just an ant. Yang Tianming said lightly as he glared at Li Lingtian on the arena. He was elated to see hundreds of thousands of warriors looking at him with admiration. Indeed, the light of a firefly can be compared to the brilliance of the moon. Roar Dragon Battle Halberd, die! Li Lingtian stood up lightly and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with one hand. His face was filled with killing intent. He had used a few skills and a few supreme-grade profound armaments, but he was still unable to defeat Yang Tianming. He could not even break through his opponent's defense. If it wasn't for his earth-grade skill and peerless profound-level weapon, he would have lost long ago and might have been killed. A powerful dragon energy surged out, and the true dragon body barrier was used again. The roaring dragon battle halberd received the powerful dragon energy, and burst out with a dragon roar. Chapter 134 Chapter 134. Number 1 on the Prodigy Roll. Chapter 134. Number 1 on the Prodigy Roll. Li Lingtian's body tore through the air as he charged toward Yang Tianming. 7 forms of sky destruction. Yang Heaven Sword. Rumble. With a shocking explosion, the attack of the roaring dragon battle halberd was cancelled out, and the huge sword light of the Sun Heaven Sword was also destroyed. All the warriors were shocked. To think that he had managed to break the 7 forms of sky destruction. They were all curious to see the roaring dragon combat halberd in Li Lingtian's hands. They wondered what grade the weapon was. It was 3 meters long and exuded a powerful pressure. Li Lingtian looked like a god of war who had descended to the mortal world. He looked at Yang Tianming coldly and smiled bitterly in his heart. The roaring dragon battle halberd was unable to defeat Yang Tianming. He steeled his heart and put away the roaring dragon battle halberd. On the square and on the steps, all the martial artists did not dare to breathe too loudly. They were all shocked to see the battle between the 2 heaven-defying geniuses on the arena. Heaven and earth burning. The earth-shattering flames appeared on the arena with the power to burn everything in the world. For a moment, all the martial artists cried out in surprise. Ice and fire martial souls. Ice martial spirit. How come you have the flame martial spirit at the same time? He's actually a genius with ice and fire martial souls. In the past 10,000 years, Eastern Spirit Azure Continent is the first to possess ice and fire dual martial souls. What a terrifying power of flames. Countless powerhouses were shocked. They knew how powerful Li Lingtian's ice soul martial soul was, but they did not expect him to have a flaming martial soul. Fortunately, they did not know that Li Lingtian possessed the flaming sacred body. Otherwise, they would have been shocked beyond words. Flame gold light. Yang Tianming was shocked when he discovered Li Lingtian's fire-type martial soul, and sensed the destructive power of the heaven and earth conflagration. With a wave of his hand, he circulated his true essence to the maximum and a shocking beam of light shot toward Li Lingtian's heaven and earth conflagration. Rumble. Chi-chi. Chi-chi. The heaven and earth conflagration and the golden light collided with a loud bang. The two terrifying attacks made a sizzling sound, and the space trembled continuously. A strange sound rang out, and all the martial artists were stunned. Yang Tianming spat out a mouthful of blood as he was injured. This was the first time he was injured by a warrior spirit realm warrior since his battle with Li Lingtian. Courting death, courting death. 7 forms of sky destruction, sword of destruction. Yang Tianming was also stunned by Li Lingtian's heaven and earth conflagration. The top ranker on the Sons of Heaven roll was actually injured by a warrior spirit. It was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. This was an unforgivable humiliation. In his rage, he did not care about the blood at the corner of his mouth. He circulated his true essence to the limit, and the world trembled. Everyone in the square revealed a terrified expression. On the steps, Li Suifeng, his wife, Tang Ziming, and the rest were stunned. Shenluo Qingming, who was ranked first on the Sons of Heaven roll, had been defeated by this move. Now Li Lingtian was facing the same move. Li Lingtian looked at the sword of destruction with a hint of despair in his heart. He had used all sorts of tricks, but he was not confident that he could withstand this move. It was already too late for him to use the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber. Moreover, he could not control the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber. He couldn't take out the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron from the Divine Dragon Ring. Looking at the destruction sword, a trace of viciousness appeared in his heart. If one die, you will die with me. 9 Suns Holy Fire. Flaming Sacred Body. Fire Dragon's Flame. Cold Ice Chi. Ice and fire are incompatible. This young master wants to defy the heavens. Li Lingtian looked at the destruction sword before him. No one present could withstand this attack, let alone himself. As for other treasures, skills, and even jade talismans, he did not have the slightest confidence in blocking this destructive sword attack. He made up his mind and forcefully used the ice-fire combination that he had been unable to comprehend for a long time. He used the 9 Suns Holy Fire and several types of raging flames to the extreme. Then, he also used his Ice Soul Martial Soul. Instantly, his entire body was torn apart by the raging flames and the Ice Soul. However, after being tempered by the Dragon Chi, the combination of the 9 Suns Holy Fire and the immemorial Ice Crystal could not destroy him at all. All the martial artists were frightened. Looking at the youth on the stage, fear appeared in their hearts. To actually circulate 2 mutually countering cultivation techniques together, this was courting death. Li Lingtian's face revealed a crazed expression. He raised both his hands and a dark blue icy soul appeared in his left hand. It looked like a glacier. A ball of mysterious flames appeared in his right hand. The flames seemed to be about to devour the world. Ice and fire. 2. The Tao comes from the 9 heavens. Ice and fire complement each other. The 9 heavens will destroy the world. Li Lingtian muttered to himself as his expression gradually calmed down. However, his hands quickly joined together. Instantly, the ice and flames fused together, and an aura of death and destruction spread out. The world trembled as if it was the end of the world. At the intersection of the flames and the glaciers, the aura of death and destruction became even denser. At that moment, the sword of destruction slashed down at Li Lingtian with incredible speed. Yang Tianming was shocked as well. He felt a sense of fear toward the aura. Naturally, he would not allow the aura to appear in such a situation. He wanted to kill Li Lingtian in one move. However, it was too late. The 2 opposing ultimate attributes in Li Lingtian's hands combined to form a shocking beam of light that shot toward the destruction sword. Rumble! A shocking explosion sounded, and a halo scattered in all directions. Immediately, the arena shattered into pieces, and the energy shot in all directions. The defenses of countless martial artists were directly destroyed. Ah! Impossible! Our sect is the first on the prodigy roll. No one can kill our sect. Ah! Boom! The shocking halo carried destruction and death. Yang Tianming was the first to bear the brunt. The halo directly entered his body, and a mysterious light burst out. Yang Tianming's face was filled with fear as he screamed crazily. Immediately after, a mysterious light exploded from his body. Yang Tianming didn't have the slightest resistance as his body turned transparent from the light, and finally exploded into pieces. Li Lingtian forcefully circulated his true qi and spat out a mouthful of blood. At that moment, his Tier 9 warrior spirit's peak perfection state loosened. Tier 9 warrior spirit break. With a roar of rage, he circulated the remaining genuine qi in his body. He quickly circulated the heaven and earth reincarnation technique, and his genuine qi directly broke through the bottleneck. He entered the martial king realm naturally. A powerful aura soared into the sky. The spirit qi around Li Lingtian was sucked in fiercely, and was quickly absorbed into his body. Ah! Yang Tianming died. Yang Tianming was killed. How is that possible? Li Lingtian is breaking through. He's already at the martial king realm. He's breaking through during the battle. The fluctuation of heaven and earth spirit qi jolted all the stunned warriors awake. Yang Tianming had disappeared and was defeated by Li Lingtian. This unbelievable fact was laid before their eyes. What was even more shocking was that the one who had killed Yang Tianming, who was ranked first on the prodigy roll, was Li Lingtian, a warrior spirit. Now, not only did Li Lingtian not die, he had even achieved a breakthrough, too. Young Master Lingtian, number 1 on the prodigy roll. Young Master Lingtian, number 1 on the prodigy roll. Young Master Lingtian, number 1 on the prodigy roll. The strong were respected. Yang Tianming's death shocked all the martial artists, but the person who killed Yang Tianming was an even more powerful expert. This expert had even broken through after defeating Yang Tianming. Li Lingtian, return my son's life. Yang Qingtian woke up in shock. Seeing his son killed, he roared crazily as if he had been struck by lightning. Yang Qingtian, mind your image. Yang Qingtian, watch your manners. That's the arena. On the steps, all the cultivators were pressing down on Yang Qingtian. Since Yang Tianming was dead, they naturally wouldn't help the Yang family. Big brother Ling Tian won. Tian won. Tang Ziming and Li Suifeng were so excited that tears flowed down their faces. Tang Zicheng and his wife were relieved as well. They did not expect Li Lingtian to be the one to win by killing Yang Tianming. I've said before that one should keep a low profile. If one doesn't seek death, one won't die. Li Lingtian stood up. There was not the slightest injury on his body. After breaking through to the warrior king realm, his entire body was filled with immense strength. The difference between the martial spirit realm and the martial king realm was like the difference between heaven and earth. If he were to face Yang Tianming now, he would definitely not be in such a sorry state. Young noble Ling Tian. Young noble Ling Tian. Cheers erupted and reverberated throughout the entire square. Hundreds of thousands of martial artists were excited. This young man actually had ice and fire martial souls and had killed a Tier 6 martial arts grandmaster super genius with one final strike. Now that he had broken through during the battle and become a king of the martial path, his strength had become even more powerful. One hereby announced that Li Lingtian has become number 1 on the prodigy roll. Bai Ping announced loudly. Immediately, the square was in an uproar again. The experts on the steps also congratulated Li Suifeng and his wife, and countless others congratulated Tang Zicheng. He won. What is a genius? This is a genius. In front of him, I'm just a clown. Nangong Mingyue's expression was numb. She thought about the past. This young man was pursuing her, but she ignored him and even called him a good-for-nothing. Li Lingtian, Yang Tianming has requested for a marriage. Now that you've defeated Yang Tianming, I'll grant you the marriage and betroth the eldest princess to you. Nangong Haoming said loudly. Instantly, everyone in the square was filled with envy and jealousy. The eldest princess was the number 1 beauty in Sky Dragon Empire. Now that she was bestowed with a marriage, everyone was envious. This is a match made in heaven. The number 1 genius on the prodigy roll, the number 1 beauty of Sky Dragon Empire. This is a joyous occasion for Sky Dragon Empire. In this world, only young noble Ling Tian can accompany the eldest princess. Only a peerless beauty like the eldest princess is worthy of young noble Ling Tian. Countless warriors congratulated him as all their attention was focused on Li Lingtian and Nangong Mingyue. Tang Ziming's expression was calm, and a string of tears fell. Her heart was extremely uncomfortable. However, Just as everyone was congratulating Li Lingtian and Nangong Mingyue, Li Lingtian spoke in a calm voice. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. Forgive me for not being able to accept your betrothal. I'm just a second-generation heir. My status is worlds apart from the eldest princess. Besides, Tang Ziming is my fiancée. How can I make her sad? Li Lingtian stood proudly in the arena as he gazed tenderly at the heartbroken Tang Ziming on the steps. At that moment his heart was in agony. With such a girl suffering for him, what else could he not be satisfied with? Chapter 135 Chapter 135 Martial Emperor. Chapter 135 Martial Emperor. In his previous life, he had thought that the greatest happiness was to have beautiful women as many as the clouds. Now that he had come to this world, there was a peerless beautiful girl who loved him. In this life, all the girls around him were incomparable to the so-called beauties in his previous life. However, he now understood that there was no need for too many beauties. As long as they were compatible, they would be perfect. Nangong Mingyue was beautiful and had her own merits like Tang Ziming. However, he was no longer in the mood. He had defeated Yang Tianming and rejected Nangong Haoming's betrothal not because he was petty, but because Li Lingtian's wish had to be fulfilled. Now that it had been fulfilled, he was finally free. In this world, those who came out to mingle would have to pay back sooner or later. Big brother Ling Tian. Tang Ziming's tears could not help but fall. She was already extremely happy in her heart. With brother Ling Tian's words, she would have no regrets even if she died. It turned out that her big brother Ling Tian wanted to regain his lost face, and she would always have a place in his heart. She was his wife. This bastard. Tang Qingyue was also very excited. She was happy for her sister. She thought she could understand this young man, but now she realized that he did not follow the rules. This youth was young and unrestrained, extremely powerful and perfect in all aspects. There was no woman in the world who would not go crazy for a young man like him. In the beginning, she had really misunderstood Li Lingtian. My Tian is a true man. A smile appeared on Li Suifeng's face. He had to admit that he was extremely impressed by his son. It was normal for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but under such circumstances, he still thought about Tang Ziming at all times. A son-in-law is half a son. I, Tang Zicheng, am relieved that Mengming can follow him. Tang Zicheng looked at the young man in the arena with satisfaction. Although it was inappropriate to reject the emperor's betrothal in front of hundreds of thousands of people, no one in Sky Dragon Empire dared to touch Li Lingtian with the Tang, Li, Qin, and Lan families. On the stairs, Nangong Mingyue's expression changed drastically. He was young and handsome, the #1 genius on the Sons of Heaven rankings. He was a martial spirit realm warrior who killed a Tier 6 martial grandmaster genius and became a martial king in battle. Who could be more stunning than him? He was extremely curious about this young man, and he was satisfied with this young man. He regretted what he had said last time. It was a good thing that her father had given her a marriage. At least she did not marry an old man. However, she never expected Li Lingtian to reject the marriage in front of hundreds of thousands of people. He even said that his status was worlds apart from the princess. Wasn't this what he had said the last time? Could it be that he had risked his life to fight the #1 genius on the prodigy roll just for this sentence? Could it be that he was taking the risk to fight a martial arts grandmaster to take revenge on him? You're too cruel. Could it be that you defeated Yang Tianming just to take revenge on me? Do you really hate me that much? The square was silent. The young genius had rejected the marriage. A peerless beauty had become his wife and the emperor's son-in-law, but he had actually been rejected. Everyone looked at Li Lingtian in confusion. Even the countless young girls who admired Li Lingtian looked at him in confusion. Most of them were mesmerized by Li Lingtian's words because he was willing to reject the #1 beauty in Sky Dragon Empire for Tang Ziming. Nangong Mingyue's voice was heard softly as she stared at Li Lingtian with a pale face. It was as if only the two of them existed in this world. Everyone was shocked. Needless to say, there must be something between the two of them. Men, there are things to do and things not to do. 2 years ago, one was just a martial apprentice. You once said that our identities were worlds apart. It's impossible to bear grudges. I've said it before, men have their own ways of doing things. I'm just doing what I should do. Li Lingtian said calmly. He felt that something was amiss when he saw Nangong Mingyue's expression. Did he do something wrong? That's right. He would not regret what he had done. This was something he had to do. In this world, the strong were respected. There was no right or wrong. He was only a martial apprentice back then. There was indeed a huge difference. No one could have imagined that he would have today's achievements. Men, there are things to do and things not to do. All the martial artists were shocked. They were their own men, but had they done this? He was a young man who knew these principles at the age of 16 and had been practicing them all this time, but he did not understand them. Understand. I was too harsh with my words back then. I'm sorry. Nangong Mingyue was stunned. She had already regretted her harsh words at that time, which had left a deep impression on the young man. Now she understood that she was really wrong. She bowed to Li Lingtian and apologized. Hundreds of thousands of people were shocked. The dignified imperial princess had apologized to Li Lingtian. Very few people could understand the things between the two of them, but the two of them were the most perfect existences in everyone's hearts. You two little fellows can settle your own matters. I don't want to interfere. Nangong Haoming knew that he wouldn't succeed even if he interfered. Instead of doing this, he might as well find a way out. Thank you, Your Majesty. Li Lingtian bowed to Nangong Haoming and slowly walked down the arena. However, just as he lifted his foot, his expression changed drastically. An earth-shattering and destructive pressure blasted toward him. This was a pressure and not an attack. He used his entire body's defense and the true dragon body barrier, but in front of this pressure, he was as weak as an ant. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face was extremely pale. He looked at the void in horror. What happened? What's going on? How did he get injured? Who could injure him? Everyone was horrified. Li Lingtian, who was known as Sky Dragon Empire's #1 genius, had become a warrior king and his strength had skyrocketed. Yet, someone still managed to injure Li Lingtian without him noticing. Who had such terrifying strength? Such strength had already exceeded their imagination. Rumble. In the sky there was an explosion. Two whirlwind-like pressures collided fiercely, and space was torn apart. Beichen Wuyo, you broke the rules. A calm voice came from the depths of the palace. An old man appeared out of thin air and looked into the distance in the direction Li Lingtian was staring at. Martial Emperor. Martial Emperor. It's really a Martial Emperor. Sky Dragon Empire's guardian god. Qingming Martial Emperor. It's Lord Martial Emperor. Seeing the black-robed elder in the void, countless martial arts grandmasters were excited. Their eyes were filled with admiration. Sky Dragon Empire's Imperial Palace's guardian god. A Martial Emperor expert, 4th-level Martial Emperor Qingming. In Sky Dragon Empire, there were martial emperors in the top 3 families, the 4 major sects, and the Imperial Palace. Qing Styx, who was known as one of the 7 martial emperors of Sky Dragon Empire, had actually appeared at this time. One of the 100-meter-wide whirlwinds in the sky belonged to Force Emperor Qingming. The other one should be a Force Emperor as well. A martial royal realm expert had appeared at the Sky Dragon Empire's competition venue, and even made a move. This matter was not simple. Qingming, one haven't seen you for 100 years. Your cultivation has improved a lot. You'd better not interfere in this matter. As his voice faded, a blue-robed old man strangely appeared in front of Qing Styx. No one knew how this old man appeared. Beichen Wuyo? Could it be the Beichen family of the 4 great divine guard families in Tianjin Empire? Why would a martial emperor from Tianjin Empire come to Sky Dragon Empire and injure a super genius from Sky Dragon Empire? Do you want the 2 empires to fight? The Beichen family is jealous of Sky Dragon Empire's super genius and wants to kill the genius in the cradle. How shameless. You want to kill a genius on the Sons of Heaven role in Sky Dragon Empire? With Martial Emperor Qingming here, you must be dreaming. Countless warriors were infuriated. Even those who were jealous of Li Lingtian were infuriated. No matter how much they disliked Li Lingtian, he was still a member of Sky Dragon Empire. Now that Tianjin Empire had come to kill the people of Sky Dragon Empire, who in Sky Dragon Empire wouldn't be furious? Beichen Wuyo, do you know what you are doing? This is Sky Dragon Empire. If we leave immediately, one can let bygones be bygones. Qing Stix looked at Beichen Wuyo in the distance and was extremely shocked. He did not expect Beichen Wuyo to be a 4th-level martial emperor and not weaker than him. If they fought, they would be evenly matched. However, this was the capital of Sky Dragon Empire. If the martial emperors fought, hundreds of thousands of people here would suffer. Moreover, he might not be able to defeat Beichen Wuyo. Haha, he can leave, but his life is mine. Beichen Wuyo pointed at Li Lingtian below and spoke indifferently. If Sky Dragon Empire had such a heaven-defying genius, he would become a threat to Tianjin Empire in the future if he was not killed. He would not give any genius who had the potential to become a martial emperor a chance. He had come here this time because he had received an imperial edict from the imperial palace of Tianjin Empire. Don't you know how foolish you are to kill a disciple on the Sons of Heaven roll in front of Sky Dragon Empire? After Qing Stix finished speaking, the pressure from his body rose. The space trembled. The pressure of a martial emperor could make anyone below the martial emperor level become an ant. Hundreds of thousands of martial artists felt this shocking pressure, as if they were facing the might of the heavens. Killing him is a piece of cake. I won't fight with you today, but you won't be idle either. Beichen Wuyo chuckled, and a silver flying dragon appeared in the air. A shocking demonic chi erupted in the sky. Tier 5. Level 4 Silver Wing Flying Dragon. Tier 5 Silver Dragon. The Beichen family's Tier 5 Silver Wing Flying Dragon. 5th Order 4th Level Demonic Beast is equivalent to a 4th Order Martial Arts Grandmaster. It's over this time. With the Silver Wing Flying Dragon holding back the Qingming Martial Emperor, Li Lingtian is doomed against Beichen Wuyo. Everyone was shocked when they saw the Silver Wing Flying Dragon appear in the sky. A rank 5 demonic beast and Beichen Wuyo were both martial emperors. It was no wonder he dared to come to Sky Dragon City. He had brought a Tier 5 Silver Wing Flying Dragon with him. As long as the Silver Wing Flying Dragon could restrain Force Emperor Qingming for a moment, he could kill Li Lingtian. It turned out that everything had been calculated. It seemed that he had long planned to kill the number 1 genius on the prodigy roll. Chapter 136 Chapter 136 Silver Wing Flying Dragon. Chapter 136 Silver Wing Flying Dragon. Beichen Wuyo, you've calculated well. Commander of the Divine Guards, come out and join forces to kill the Silver Wing Flying Dragons. Qing Stix shouted loudly. His expression was also uncertain. A super genius was the future of the empire, not to mention in front of hundreds of thousands of warriors. If he left them alone, the hearts of the people in Sky Dragon Empire would definitely fall apart. With that said, 8 figures flew out of the imperial palace, and a violent aura erupted in the air. Rank 8 Martial Arts Grandmaster. They are all rank 8 martial arts grandmasters. So this is the Imperial Palace's Divine Guard. They are indeed powerful. 8 rank 8 martial arts grandmasters. Even if they can't kill the Silver Wing Flying Dragon, they should be enough to hold it back. All the powerhouses were shocked when they saw the 8 rank 8 martial arts grandmasters in the sky. Sky Dragon Empire was indeed not simple. Haha, do you think it's useful to pin down me and the Silver Wing Flying Dragon? The 3 martial emperors of Sky Dragon City are in seclusion. The martial emperors of the 4 sects are guarding their sections. It's too late even if they want to rush over. Beichen Wuyo was stunned when he saw the 8 martial arts grandmasters surrounding the Silver Wing Flying Dragon in the air. However, he soon laughed out loud. He had long understood the situation in Sky Dragon City. Otherwise, he would not have dared to come here rashly. Inform the Divine Guards to send a message to the 4 great sects to come to Sky Dragon City immediately. Nangong Haoming shouted to the guards beside him. Immediately, more than 10 martial arts grandmasters rushed to Nangong Haoming's side and each of them quickly cast a formation. In an instant, 4 strange auras disappeared in the air and drifted in the direction of the 4 sections. Although it would take some time for the Force Emperors of the four top sects to arrive here, it was better than waiting. It was impossible to kill Force Emperors in the great battle between Force Emperors. They could only wait for the Force Emperors of the four top sects to arrive for support. Beichen Wuya was right. The three martial emperors of Sky Dragon City were all in life and death seclusion, so it was impossible for them to come out to help. Do it! With Beichen Wuyo's order, the silver-winged flying dragon burst out with shocking demonic power. It instantly fought with the 8-rank 8 martial arts grandmasters. Space trembled and the air tore. Li Lingtian died. Beichen Wuyo did not hesitate at all as he swooped down toward the arena. Once he killed Li Lingtian, he would be able to leave Sky Dragon City quickly. Otherwise, he would be dead by the time the martial emperors from the four major sects arrived. On the plaza and on the steps, everyone was suppressed by the martial emperor and could not move at all. They could only watch helplessly as Li Lingtian suffered the destructive attack on the arena. You're courting death. Great grieving palm. Qing Styx was enraged when he saw Beichen Wuyo trying to kill him. He channeled all his true essence and threw it at Beichen Wuyo. As long as Beichen Wuyo did not retaliate, Beichen Wuyo would die when Li Lingtian did. Li Lingtian, who was below the stage, was shocked by the strategy of besieging the weak to save the weak. A martial royal realm powerhouse's cultivation was indeed powerful. Beichen Wuyo was several times stronger than Wind Demon. True Dragon Body Protection. Ice and Fire Ring. Li Lingtian was shocked when he saw the destructive pressure and attack crashing down. He knew that even if Qing Styx attacked Beichen Wuyo from behind, he would still be killed by Beichen Wuyo. It was better to ask for help than to ask for help from others. He circulated all the true qi in his body and used the true dragon body barrier. At the same time, the ice and fire ring appeared in front of him. After breaking through from the martial spirit realm to the martial king realm, his strength had increased by several times. The true dragon body barrier had also become several times stronger. The ice and fire ring that had shocked him had also become even stronger. Rumble! Rumble! In the sky, the 8-tier 8 martial arts grandmasters surrounded the silver-winged flying dragon and attacked it. They were evenly matched for a moment. Beichen Wuyo did not continue attacking Li Lingtian, but engaged in a fierce battle with Qing Styx. Eugene tossed Li Lingtian into the air. Everyone was stunned by the martial royal realm battle. Qing Styx, even if the 4 martial emperors use the 1,000-mile teleportation, it will take at least half an hour. Do you think you can protect him? Beichen Wuyo attacked Qing Styx with sharp attacks while he spoke. In half an hour, you will stay in Sky Dragon City forever. Qing Styx said coldly. Powerful attacks collided with each other. Waves of violent aura tore through the space, and countless astral winds ravaged Heavenly Dragon City. Damn it! Old fart, do you think I'm a block of wood? Destroying me just like that? You're simply courting death. Li Lingtian bellowed as he looked at Beichen Wuyo in the sky. He was slightly enraged. So what if he was a martial emperor? Killing him like a piece of wood was intolerable. Shoo! All the martial artists in the square exhaled a breath of cold air. Arrogant. This was arrogant. He dared to be so arrogant in front of a martial emperor. Roar! Tia! At that moment, the air trembled and a 3-colored dragon appeared in front of Li Lingtian. The 3-colored dragon was 5 meters long, and its entire body was covered in 3 colors. Tier 4, Level 4 3-colored dragon. Shocked, completely shocked. It was actually a 3-colored dragon. This was a true dragon. The silver-winged flying dragon in the sky only meant that it had dragon blood veins, not pure dragon blood. Li Lingtian floated up and stood on the 3-colored dragon. With one hand on his body, the roaring dragon combat poleaxe appeared in his hand. The 3-colored dragon let out a roar, and a shocking dragon aura burst out. It leaped into the air and appeared not far from Qing Styx in an instant. Qing Styx and Beichen Wuyo stopped in their tracks as they stared in shock at the 3-colored dragon that Li Lingtian was riding on. Although it was only a Tier 4 Level 4 dragon, a true dragon's might was extremely powerful. Li Lingtian, Qingming and Beichen Wuyo formed a triangular formation. The warriors below were shocked. Li Lingtian, the 3-colored dragon, and Qing Styx were teaming up. The battle this time was much stranger than the beginning. In the past, they would not have thought highly of Li Lingtian. However, after Li Lingtian killed Yang Tianming, they dared not underestimate him. The young man's white clothes are fluttering, and a true dragon is his mount. Truly a heaven-defying monster. He's young and handsome. There's a heaven-defying expert in Sky Dragon Empire who's growing rapidly. On the steps, all the martial artists looked at the situation in the sky. The silver-winged flying dragon was also threatened by the dragon Qi, and its power was much weaker than before. A smile appeared on Qing Stix's face. With this helper, he was much stronger than a 7th or 8th level martial arts grandmaster. Beichen Wuyo's expression turned ugly. The more powerful Li Lingtian was, the stronger his killing intent became. Senior Qingming, lead Beichen Wuyo. Junior will attack. After Li Lingtian reached the martial king realm, he was able to transmit his voice to Beichen Wuyo. With his powerful divine consciousness, he was not afraid that Beichen Wuyo would hear him. His divine sense was something that even an ordinary martial emperor could not compare to. Qing Stix was stunned. As the main attacker, his power must be shocking. He couldn't believe that a young martial king would say such words. What kind of heaven-defying ability did this young man have to be so confident? However, he had witnessed everything that Li Lingtian had done in Sky Dragon City, and was extremely pleased with the young man. Last time, he had also tested him in the Imperial Palace. He was definitely not simple and was a rare genius. Alright, don't disappoint me. You've seen the situation. If I die, you'll die too. Sky Dragon City will be destroyed, and Sky Dragon Empire will be destroyed. Qing Stix pondered for a long time and then sent a message. He decided to believe it once. Beichen Wuyo, you will stay here forever today. Qing Stix said loudly. His body shot out and a shocking attack was launched. It was an unrestrained attack. Beichen Wuyo and the warriors below were shocked. What was going on with Force Emperor Qingming? He was attacking without any defense. Everyone knew how destructive the Great War of Force Emperors was to Sky Dragon City. Rumble. Qing Stix, you're crazy. Beichen Wuyo cursed. He didn't think that Qing Stix would take the initiative. Such an attack was a desperate fight. The brave would win when they met on a narrow road. It was the same for martial artists. For a moment, Beichen Wuyo could only keep defending, and his expression was extremely ugly. Faced with this crazy martial emperor's full-powered attack, he had no choice but to resist with all his might. If he was not careful, he would die here. Roar Dragon Battle Halberd, destroy it. Li Lingtian was elated to see that Qing Stix believed in him. Naturally, he understood what Qing Stix meant. If he died, the entire empire would be finished. Immediately, he used the Ice and Fire Ring. The true dragon body barrier protected his entire body, and the inner armor he wore also activated its defense. Then he swung the Roaring Dragon Battle Poleaxe, and a shocking dragon energy surged out of the Divine Dragon Ring. He turned into a meteor and shot toward Beichen Wuyo. The Roaring Dragon Battle Poleaxe smashed down on Beichen Wuyo. You crazy Qingming. You actually used yourself as a bait to let this bastard plot against me. Sensing the shocking dragon Qi, Beichen Wuyo understood what was going on no matter how stupid he was. He just couldn't believe that Qing Stix would let him be the catalyst and let a martial king be the main attacker. However, this terrifying dragon energy was extremely overbearing. If he wasn't careful, he would also be seriously injured. However, facing Qing Stix's crazy attack, he didn't have the ability to clone himself. He could only watch as the Roaring Dragon Battle Poleaxe smashed down. He circulated his quintessential essence. If he wanted to rely on his protective barrier to block this attack, no matter how strong a martial king was, he would only be a martial king. However, what shocked him was that when the Roaring Dragon Battle Halberd struck the protective shield, the shocking power almost shattered it. He finally calmed down. At least he had resisted it. However, it was not over. The Roaring Dragon Battle Halberd blocked it, but what made him feel dead was that a strange aura ignored the protective barrier and directly rushed into his body. The dragon aura was crazily stirring in his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his body was thrown back. He stopped 1,000 meters away. When he stopped, Qing's sticks shot out again, not giving him any chance to rest. Damn you, Qingming. F*Q Li Lingtian. You'll die a horrible death. 2 hits. Damn it, you two schemed against me. What kind of heroes are you? A. In the sky, 3 voices flashed. The 3 figures were like meteors exploding from time to time. Every time they exploded, the space trembled. Below, everyone was stunned. How could Li Lingtian's roaring dragon combat halberd be so overbearing that even a martial emperor was afraid of it? Chapter 137 Chapter 137 Heavenly Phoenix, Grandine and Profound Spirit. Chapter 137 Heavenly Phoenix, Grandine and Profound Spirit. Everyone could only see 3 figures flashing, along with the sound of an explosion and Beichen Wuyo's curses. He did not look like a martial royal realm expert at all. What terrifying dragon energy! A rank 1 martial king is actually fighting a martial emperor? This world has gone crazy. Young Master Ling Tian is indeed the #1 genius on the Sons of Heaven rankings in Sky Dragon Empire. One would be satisfied if I fought a martial arts grandmaster. How could I fight a martial emperor? Big Brother Ling Tian's true dragon Qi is the nemesis of martial monarch powerhouses. After this, no one can stop his rise. The people below were all shocked. The battle in the sky was beyond their imagination. The martial king used the 3-colored dragon to fly and the rebound force to flash in the air. His every step was precise to the peak. Boundless heaven wind slash. Die. In the air, the 3 of them pulled apart. Li Lingtian stood on the 3-colored dragon while Qing's sticks hovered in the air. The 3 of them formed a triangular formation. Qing Stix's face was filled with excitement. It had been a long time since he had fought so freely. The appearance of a martial king allowed him to fight freely and even suppress his opponent. Beichen Wuyo's expression was solemn. He circulated his true essence and a huge weapon appeared in his hand. It was a low-grade emperor weapon. An aura of death appeared in the space, as if the end of the world had arrived. Beichen Wuyo, if you use this move to provoke a war between Sky Dragon Empire and Tianjin Empire, you will be punished by the rules. Qing Stix's face was also solemn. This was a forbidden technique and its power was shocking. Even he, a 4th-level martial emperor, could not withstand it. He did not expect Beichen Wuyo to use a forbidden technique. If he used it, at least 10,000 people from Sky Dragon City would disappear instantly. Ha, the punishment of the rules. As long as one kill you, Sky Dragon Empire will forever be history. Beichen Wuyo laughed maniacally. Everyone below was shocked. This martial emperor wanted to destroy Sky Dragon City and Sky Dragon Empire. All of a sudden, all the warriors were enraged. However, they could do nothing against a martial emperor. They could only watch as Qing Stix and Li Lingtian hovered in the sky. Since you want me to die, one will let you live forever. Anyone who dares to touch my empire will die. Li Lingtian stared at Beichen Wuyo with a determined look on his face. He did not expect things to turn out this way. If he waited for the martial emperor's forbidden technique to be used, he would also disappear into thin air. Since that was the case, he would not take the risk to try. Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber. Heaven and earth become one. Releasing his divine sense, his entire aura changed drastically. His body also floated in the air, and a 3-foot-long Overlord Saber appeared in his hand. Instantly, the Heaven Extreme Overlord Saber emitted a shocking pressure. The shocking pressure formed a light that enveloped Li Lingtian. A 20-meter-wide light flashed in the sky. Could it be a supreme great emperor weapon? Impossible. An emperor weapon doesn't have such a pressure. Only a legendary saint weapon would have such a pressure. Stop, you can't control the saint artifact. You'll die if you do that. Some knowledgeable warriors were shocked. This was the pressure of a powerful weapon. It could be a legendary saint weapon. Beside him, Qing Stix was even more shocked. This pressure was crushing him. Even he, a martial emperor, couldn't resist this pressure. However, Li Lingtian's cultivation base was only at the warrior king realm. If he were to forcefully use the sacred weapon, he would definitely be killed by the backlash. However, it was too late to stop it now. The Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber emitted a shocking pressure, and everything in the world trembled. The martial artists on the square could not help but prostrate, as if they had seen a god. Rumble. Tianhao's windward slash was a forbidden technique among the advanced Earth tier skills. When a martial emperor used it, it was earth-shattering. The two attacks collided with a destructive aura, and a light exploded in space. Everyone was dazzled by the light and could not open their eyes. Li Lingtian Qing sticks, and Beichen Wuyo disappeared into the sky. The 8 Tier 8 martial arts grandmasters were also knocked down. The silver-winged flying dragon was also struck down and crashed heavily onto the plaza. The sky was silent. Everyone looked at the sky in horror. There was no longer a figure in the sky. At this moment, 3 sounds of blood spurting could be heard from the edge of the square. Cracks appeared on Beichen Wuyo's body, and countless mysterious auras spread out. In the end, his entire body was completely destroyed by the mysterious aura. There was blood at the corner of Qing Stix's mouth, and his expression was extremely ugly. There was a white-robed youth lying on the ground. The 3-colored dragon also had several wounds on its body, but it was not as miserable as the 3 of them. Big Brother Ling Tian. Tang Ziming and Li Suifeng were heartbroken when they saw Li Lingtian's trio. They quickly dashed toward Li Lingtian and came to his side. Li Lingtian's body was on the verge of death and blood was gushing out from the corner of his mouth. The situation was not looking good. Don't touch him. Qing Stix unleashed a powerful stream of true essence to protect Li Lingtian's mind. His expression was grave. Seeing that Tang Ziming and Li Suifeng were about to touch Li Lingtian, they quickly stopped them. If they did, Li Lingtian's situation would worsen. Big Brother Ling Tian. Big Brother Ling Tian. Tang Zi's heart broke when she saw Li Lingtian's face. He was fine before, but now he was like this. It's fine, your big brother Ling Tian won't die. Li Lingtian had a smile on his face the entire time. As soon as he spoke, blood gushed out from the air again. Elder Qing, do you have any ideas? Nangong Haoming and the others came to the edge of the square and asked Qingming. This time, Li Lingtian had used his powerful weapon to kill Beichen Wuyo and save Sky Dragon City. Nangong Haoming could not help but feel satisfied with this young man. Yes, but it's the same whether you have it or not. Qing Stix spoke solemnly as he protected Li Lingtian's mind with his true essence. However, his eyes were filled with disappointment in the end because it was no different from not saying anything about this method. What do you mean? Li Suifeng and Tang Ziqing asked at the same time. Now that their son-in-law and son, whom they were most proud of, had become like this, how could they not be anxious? Blood of the heavenly phoenix, blood of the extreme Yin, blood of the mysterious spirit. Qing Stix said seriously. This was a legend. He had accidentally read it in a book, but he didn't pay attention to it. This was because the blood of the heavenly phoenix, the blood of the extreme Yin, and the blood of the mysterious spirit were all legendary bloodlines in the world. They were all the blood essence of women, but these 3 bloodlines did not exist in the divine martial continent. Moreover, even if a woman had such a bloodline, she only had 1 drop of blood essence. Who would take it out? The bloodline of a virgin could be resurrected by fusing 3 types of blood essence. Moreover, those who obtain 3 types of bloodline would be reborn once, just like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Heavenly phoenix blood. The blood of extreme Yin. Mysterious spirit blood. Nangong Haoming and Tang Ziqing were both shocked and had strange expressions on their faces. The 2 of them exclaimed in surprise, which immediately puzzled everyone. Even if the 3 bloodlines were rare and magical, it shouldn't make the 2 of them lose their composure like this. Father, isn't Mingming a mystic spirit? When Tang Ziming heard Qing Stix's words, she was stunned. If her blood essence could save Brother Ling Tian, she would not hesitate at all. Moreover, she happened to have the 1 in a million mythical spirit body. I also have the Yin body. Tang Qingyue looked at Tang Ziming's sad face and then looked at the young man on the ground who was barely breathing. Her heart ached for some reason and she said calmly, "What? Both of you have the profound spirit body and the extreme Yin body." Nangong Haoming and Qing Stix were also shocked. The others were also shocked. They didn't expect the 2 sisters of the Tang family to have such a rare bloodline. That's right. Blue Moon has the Yin body, and Ming Ming has the profound spirit body. Tang Ziqing said. So what if he had two bloodlines? Tang Ziming would definitely take out the drop of blood essence from his two daughters, but Tang Qingyue's blood essence was what that person needed. Moreover, even if he used both types of blood essence, he was still lacking the blood of the heavenly phoenix. Nangong Haoming turned around to look at Nangong Mingyue and called out to her in all seriousness. He understood that he had no other choice since Li Lingtian had rejected her. Everyone looked at Nangong Mingyue in confusion. Why did Nangong Haoming call the eldest princess? This queen has the body of a heavenly phoenix. Nangong Mingyue said calmly. No one knew what she was thinking. The heavenly phoenix body, the extreme Yin body, and the profound spirit body have all appeared here. How is that possible? This is too much of a coincidence. Everyone, including Qing Stix, was stunned. They couldn't believe that three rare bloodlines existed and were gathered here. For the sake of the empire, I've let you down before. I'll give you the blood of the heavenly phoenix. Nangong Mingyue pondered for a while before she finally spoke. For a virgin girl, the blood essence of the heavenly phoenix was extremely precious, but she could take it out now. Big sister. Tang Ziming looked at Tang Qingyue with a pitiful expression. As long as her sister agreed, Brother Lingtian would immediately get better. Meng Meng, if one give him the Yin blood, the three of us will suffer. Are you willing? Tang Qingyue looked at Tang Ziming seriously. No one else understood her words. Only the Tang family understood. Tang Ziming naturally understood. The Yin blood of the Yin body was what that powerful person needed. She was not in control of herself, and not just her, but the entire Tang family was in control of themselves. Even the Eastern Spirit Azure continent could not resist that powerful existence. I'm willing. Tang Ziming nodded. Of course, she understood what her elder sister meant. If her elder sister did not have the Yin blood, everyone would be implicated. Sacrifice. 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 The two sisters looked at each other and then at Nangong Mingyue. The three of them nodded and gathered their blood essence. Immediately, a drop of crystal-clear blood essence appeared between their eyebrows. This drop of blood essence did not have any blood at all, just like a precious spiritual pearl. Chapter 138. Chapter 138. Rank 3 Martial King. Chapter 138. Rank 3 Martial King. 3 drops of blood essence floated out. Immediately a majestic and holy aura appeared between heaven and earth. The spiritual chi in the entire square quickly condensed and formed a spiritual chi light shield. The blood essence began to spin rapidly and then fused together. A mysterious light erupted between heaven and earth. The finger-sized blood essence flickered with light and kept spinning. What happened? At that moment, Qing Stix's mouth was filled with shock as his true essence was being resisted by Li Lingtian's aura. Li Lingtian's body was rapidly recovering. This was the first time he had seen such a thing. The body of a martial king realm warrior could actually heal itself. This was too terrifying. Naturally, he did not know that Li Lingtian had been tempered by the 9 suns' sacred flame. The immemorial ice crystal and the fire dragon's heart had fused together, and he was reborn like a phoenix. After that, he was tempered by the dragon energy and his body was extremely strong. Looking at the blood essence in the air, Qing Stix could only smile bitterly. This young man was too amazing. He had wasted the blood essence of 3 girls. Looking at the situation, even if he didn't need the blood essence, he could still heal himself. I'll fulfill your wish. Qing Stix thought to himself. With a wave of his hand, the blood essence in the air shot toward Li Lingtian's glabella and disappeared into it. All! A shrilling scream was heard as Li Lingtian was enveloped by a ray of light. The raging flames and ice continued to tear him apart. Ice Soul Martial Spirit, Flaming Sacred Body. Everyone was once again shocked. Even though they knew about Li Lingtian's Ice Soul and Flaming Martial Soul, they were still shocked to see the Ice Soul and the Scorching Sun Sacred Body with their own eyes. Hundreds of thousands of pairs of eyes watched as Li Lingtian transformed like a phoenix rising from the ashes. After a full 10 minutes, the light was devoured and the raging flames and Ice Soul entered his body. Shoo! Rank 3 Martial King. This is too terrifying. One can't believe he reached rank 3 Martial King so easily. The blood of heavenly wind, the blood of extreme Een, and the blood of mysterious spirit are indeed heaven-defying. Tian is done. Big brother Ling Tian's injuries have recovered. At this moment everyone was overjoyed. However, Qing Stix was shocked as if he had seen a ghost. How is this possible? This is devouring. I can't believe that you've devoured so much power. One hopes Sky Dragon Empire will become stronger because of you. Shock flashed in Qing Stix's eyes. He would never dare to say such a thing. If someone knew that he had the devouring physique, they would hunt him down. Just his talent alone was enough to make Tianjin Empire's Beichen Wuyo come to kill him. If he knew about the devouring physique, wouldn't the heavens be overturned? Li Lingtian spat out a mouthful of tainted blood. He opened his eyes and looked at the people around him with a smile on his face. Congratulations to young noble Ling Tian for your cultivation base increasing. Young Master Ling Tian's strength is shocking. He even killed Beichen Wuyo, who was at the martial monarch stage. Marquis Pingbei, congratulations. Marquis Nanling, congratulations. Oh. Li Lingtian's recovery was greeted with cheers from everyone and countless warriors. At this moment, everyone's eyes shifted to the silver-wing flying dragon in the distance. The 8-rank 8 martial arts grandmaster powerhouses were also injured, but the silver-wing flying dragon had been suppressed. This Beichen Wuyo violated the rules and invaded Sky Dragon City. He wanted to kill Sky Dragon's disciples. Sky Dragon Empire reserves the right to pursue this matter. Beichen Wuyo was killed by Li Lingtian and Elder Qing. I'm offering a flower to Buddha, so I'll bestow this silver-wing flying dragon to Li Lingtian. After receiving Qing Stix's voice transmission, Nangong Haoming gave the silver-wing flying dragon to Li Lingtian and Qing Stix took Beichen Wuyo's storage pouch. Next was the reward for the top 100 disciples in this competition, as well as the reward for the geniuses on the prodigy roll. After a full hour, Bai Ping announced that the competition had come to an end. Li Lingtian followed Li Suifeng and his wife back to the Marquis of Pingbei residence while Tang Ziming followed Li Lingtian closely. Li Lingtian had become the focus of the entire Sky Dragon Empire's competition. One miracle after another appeared on Li Lingtian's body. The halo of a genius and the reputation of a powerhouse were known by everyone. Ice Soul and Raging Flame Martial Souls. A 3-colored dragon as a mount. Ice and fire combined to destroy a genius. Roaring Dragon Battle Halberd vs. Martial Emperor. Heaven and earth combined to destroy a martial emperor. The blood of the heavenly phoenix manifested a heavenly dragon. The moon mysterious spirit was the twin beauties. He was the #1 genius of Sky Dragon Empire. He was as handsome as Jade and had become a martial king at the age of 16. He fought against a martial emperor and killed him to save Sky Dragon City. Gossip always spread the fastest no matter which world it was. Young noble Ling Tian's reputation was known throughout the heavens, and he had even rejected the eldest princess marriage for his fiancée. The news spread like wildfire every day. The 10 great families and countless forces of various sizes had all left Sky Dragon City. It was the same for the 4 great sections. The experts of Sky Cloud Sect had also returned to Sky Cloud Sect. This time Sky Cloud Sect had the greatest harvest. They had a disciple who was the #1 genius of the Heavenly Dragon Realm, and was also the #1 on the Prodigy roll. The other 4th-level martial arts grandmaster also entered the Prodigy roll with his powerful skills and Emperor weapon. From then on, there were 3 disciples of Sky Cloud Sect on the Prodigy roll. To everyone's relief, Li Lingtian and Qing Stix had killed Beichen Wuyo. If Li Lingtian had not killed Beichen Wuyo, Sky Dragon City would have been finished. Because the martial royal realm experts of the 4 sects were also restrained by the mysterious expert, they didn't dare to leave the sect. After an hour, the mysterious experts of the 4 sects left automatically. They thought that 1 hour was enough to kill Li Lingtian. However, they never expected that Li Lingtian would encounter an accident. A warrior spirit realm had managed to kill Beichen Wuyo. Li Lingtian returned to the North Marquis residence and meditated in his room to rest. As he had just reached the Martial King realm, he had yet to get used to this powerful force. More importantly, he had actually managed to cultivate the ice-fire harmonization in the face of danger. Thinking of the power of the fusion of ice and fire, he was also afraid. He did not have true control over this attack. If he did, even a martial emperor would be killed, let alone a martial arts grandmaster. When he was fighting against the martial emperor in the air, he used the Heaven's Extreme Emperor Saber to break the martial emperor's forbidden technique. He had also lost half his life. However, he never expected that the blood essence of Tang Ziming, Nangong Mingyue, and Tang Ziming would change his physique. He was shocked that his body had recovered in a short period of time. After using the Heaven's Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber last time, he had to recuperate for more than 10 days before his injuries were healed. The might of the ultimate Overlord Saber was shocking, and even he could not withstand it. No one knew how Li Lingtian was injured at that time. Only Qing Stix understood that Li Lingtian had suffered a backlash from the weapon's pressure. It was too late for him to stop him. However, this reminded him of the heavenly phoenix blood, the mythical spirit body, and the ultimate Yin body. The blood essence of these three women had saved Li Lingtian and given him a unique physique that allowed him to recover in no time. Oh! Ice Fire 9 Heaven. Not bad. Ice and fire are fused against the heavens. Ice Fire 9th Layers Heaven, 1 Layer 1 Heaven. Ice Fire 9th Layer Heaven, 1st Layer Death. Li Lingtian opened his eyes with a glint in them. He had finally experienced the power of ice and fire, after cultivating the ice-fire combination. Without the slightest hesitation, he named that shocking skill Ice Fire 9 Heavy Sky. If one want to level up the Ice Fire 9 Heavens, 1 foot 11 inches have to find all kinds of heavenly flames and heavenly ice. I've already mastered the 9 Suns Sacred Fire, the Fire Dragon's Heart, and the Immemorial Ice Crystal. As long as I find another type of ice crystal and raging flame, I'll be able to level up the power of the Ice Fire 9 Flevens. Li Lingtian recalled the explanation in the Ice-Fire combination. Before he had fully comprehended and cultivated it, the restrictions in the Ice Fire 9 Layered Sky could not be broken at all. Now that the restriction was broken, the requirements of Ice/Fire/9/Layers/Sky appeared in front of him. Empyrean Demon Flame, Profound Yin Ice Crystal. The two were ice and fire, but with his current cultivation, he didn't dare to use the Empyrean Demon Flame. So he naturally couldn't use the Profound Yin Ice Crystal either. If he wanted to level up the Ice Fire 9 Heavens, he had to level up both ice and fire at the same time. Thinking of this, he could only temporarily give up on refining the Empyrean Demon Flame and focus on cultivating and refining pills. The biggest gain from this competition was that he comprehended the Ice Fire 9 Heavens and obtained the blood essence of 3 peerless girls. He had also become a martial king. A Tier 3 martial king's abilities were worlds apart from a Tier 9 warrior spirit's. He now understood how heaven-defying it was for him to defeat a martial king and a martial grandmaster. If he were to face a Tier 5 martial arts grandmaster now, he would not have the slightest fear at all. He stayed in the room for a full 5 days. In 5 days, he had adapted to the strength of a martial king and stabilized his various skills. During this period of time, Tang Ziming had been in the manor, while Tang Qingyue had not been having a good time in the Tang family. Blue Moon, don't you regret it? Lan Ping looked at Tang Qingyue. Tang Qingyue was the fiancée of a genius disciple from a super clan in the northern Dark Azure continent, and she cultivated the divine black negative technique. It just so happened that she needed Tang Qingyue's moon blood. Now that Tang Qingyue had given the girl's only drop of blood essence to Li Lingtian, Songzhou would definitely be enraged and the Tang family would not be able to live in peace. However, for the sake of their 2 precious daughters, they were willing to do anything to go against the Azure continent. Not to mention the Tang family, even the entire Eastern Spirit Azure continent was not a match for that family. Now, she only wanted to know if her daughter would regret it. On one hand, she would help her sister, and on the other hand, she would destroy herself and her family. Mother, I've been unfilial, but I've never regretted it because Mingming is my sister. Li Lingtian is also a rare hot-blooded man. One don't regret rejecting His Majesty's marriage for his sister. Tang Qingyue nodded. Thinking about her own marriage, she felt bad. She should make her own decisions about her own marriage, but sometimes she couldn't. The last time he teased Li Lingtian in Sky Cloud Sect, it was just for fun. However, deep down, he had always wanted to be able to contend with that powerhouse. Li Lingtian was a genius, but compared to that powerhouse, he was like a firefly's light and the brilliance of the moon. Now that he had witnessed Li Lingtian's heaven-defying performance, a glimmer of hope arose in his heart. Otherwise, he would not have taken out the lunar blood. The ultimatine blood had to be from a female with the ultimatine body. Furthermore, it had to be a virgin. This drop of ultimatine blood was originally meant for that powerhouse, but it was now given to Li Lingtian. For a girl, this was undoubtedly giving her innocence to Li Lingtian. Sigh, I just hope Tian won't disappoint us. Are you only doing this for Meng Meng? Lan Ping looked at Tang Qingyue. No one knew their son better than their father, and no one knew their daughter better than their mother. She naturally knew her own daughter. After saying that, he smiled faintly. Tang Qingyue blushed. As long as my sister is happy. Tang Qingyue thought of the miserable state Sky Cloud Sex Li Lingtian was in and laughed in her heart. Chapter 139 Chapter 139 Meeting in the Imperial Palace. Chapter 139 Meeting in the Imperial Palace. Li Lingtian walked out of the room and looked at the morning sun in the east with a faint smile on his face. Young master, you're up. When Li Xiaoxiao saw Li Lingtian coming out, she greeted him with a polite bow. She then went forward to tidy Li Lingtian's clothes and prepare him for a bath. These were the most basic duties of a maid. Yes. Li Lingtian nodded and headed to the washroom. After a simple wash, he was in high spirits. Miss Purple Dream is still in the room. Li Xiaoxiao said softly. Tang Ziming had been staying in Li Lingtian's courtyard during this period. Li Lingtian nodded and walked toward Tang Ziming's room. He pushed open the door and saw Tang Ziming sitting cross-legged on the couch in meditation. Tang Ziming stopped her cultivation when she noticed someone coming in. When she saw that it was Li Lingtian, her face lit up with joy. Big brother Lingtian, you're up. Tang Ziming pulled Li Lingtian to the bedside and leaned her petite body against him. Mengming's cultivation is improving very quickly. She's actually reached Tier 6 warrior spirit. Li Lingtian could feel her soft and tender body leaning against him. The scent of a virgin's body wafted into his nose. The fragrance was extremely alluring and his blood vessels immediately surged. Why didn't such a peerless beauty make his blood boil? However, when he discovered Tang Ziming's cultivation base, he was shocked. She had actually reached Tier 6 warrior spirit in such a short time. Meng gave the mystic spirit blood in her body to brother Lingtian, so her cultivation base rose rapidly. Tang Ziming's little face was flushed red. Li Lingtian naturally did not know the importance of a girl with a mythical spirit body's blood essence. It was just like a girl's first time. Before becoming a virgin, the cultivation of a girl with a mystic spirit body was very slow. Only after the drop of blood essence was taken away would her cultivation increase rapidly. The speed of her increase was terrifying. She would only give the mythical spirit body's blood essence to Li Lingtian when she married him in the future. However, she did not expect Li Lingtian to be so injured that he would ask her to give him the blood essence. Li Lingtian was stunned when he heard Tang Ziming's words. Since that was the case, Tang Qingyue and Nangong Mingyue were naturally the same. What was wrong with him to provoke Tang Qingyue and Nangong Mingyue? At the thought of this, she was extremely frustrated. She reached out and pulled Tang Ziming into her arms. She did not know what to do. The two of them were together, and there was a warmth that they had never felt before. At noon, Li Lingtian and Tang Ziming were chatting in the courtyard while Li Xiaoxiao and Qingping were chatting and laughing. At this moment, Wu Yun's voice came from outside. Young master, Lord Marquis wants you to go over. Do you know what it is? Li Lingtian took a bite of the spirit fruit and stood up after asking a few random questions. It seems to be an imperial decree. Wu Yun bowed respectfully. Li Lingtian was a Tier 3 warrior king now, but his strength would make any martial arts grandmaster tremble. This was because Li Lingtian had killed a Tier 4 martial emperor, Beichen Wuyo, when he was a Tier 1 warrior king. The martial emperor was an old monster who had lived for more than 300 years. In the end, he was also killed by Li Lingtian when he used a forbidden technique. Furthermore, all the guards and servants in the marquisdom were extremely respectful to this young master, not to mention Li Lingtian's current status. Li Lingtian said a few words to Tang Ziming and the others before he left the courtyard and headed to the main hall of the marquis residence. When he arrived at the hall, he saw a pair of silver-armored guards standing at the door. In the hall was an old eunuch. "Greetings, young noble Lingtian." More than 30 martial king guards bowed respectfully upon Li Lingtian's arrival. Their faces were filled with admiration. Li Lingtian's deeds were often mentioned by the warrior ascendant powerhouses of the divine guards. Anyone in Sky Dragon Empire could be provoked except Li Lingtian. "Greetings, young noble Lingtian." Upon entering the hall, the old eunuch saluted Li Lingtian. He was shocked by the young man's strength as the entire palace was filled with his deeds. "Eunuch Gong is too polite." Li Lingtian returned the bow. "His Majesty the Emperor has chosen the Marquis of North Peace. He would like to invite young noble Lingtian to the Heavenly Dragon Palace for a meeting." The palace's chief eunuch Zhou Linhai took out the imperial edict. After reading it out, he casually handed it over to Marquis Pingbei. When accepting the imperial edict, Marquis Pingbei had to perform the etiquette of monarch and minister, but Li Lingtian did not have to. This was a world where the strong ruled. Otherwise, the imperial edict wouldn't have announced that Northern Marquis Ping was inviting young noble Lingtian. If Li Lingtian was just a mere warrior, it would be Northern Marquis Xianping who would be meeting Li Lingtian at the Heavenly Dragon Palace instead of inviting young Master Lingtian to the Heavenly Dragon Palace for a meeting. This was a form of etiquette that even the emperor had to follow. Even the emperor had to invite young noble Lingtian. "Thank you, eunuch." Li Lingtian nodded as he replied calmly. Following that, he and Li Suifeng headed to the imperial palace. This time, they were going to the imperial palace in a beast carriage. This was status and strength. If they didn't have strength, the palace wouldn't have used a special beast carriage to pick them up. Half an hour later, the beast carriage entered the imperial palace. Li Lingtian and Li Lingtian alighted from the beast carriage. A long red carpet extended all the way to the Heavenly Dragon Palace Hall. All the guards bowed respectfully when they saw Li Lingtian and Li Suifeng. Even a duke did not receive such treatment. "Marquis Pingbei, young noble Lingtian has arrived." Zhou Linhai shouted loudly. Hundreds of courtiers in the hall turned to look at the palace door. Li Lingtian and his partner walked in confidently. Li Lingtian was stunned when he saw the people in the hall. This time they were all generals and not a single civil official. "Greetings, Marquis Pingbei." "Greetings, young noble Lingtian." All the generals saluted Li Suifeng in unison. When they saw Li Lingtian, their faces were filled with admiration as they greeted him politely. "Greetings, Your Majesty." "Li Lingtian greets Your Majesty." The two of them stepped forward and bowed to Nangong Haoming. Li Lingtian greeted Nangong Haoming as if he was his peer, just like Li Suifeng did to a sovereign. "Please sit." Nangong Haoming wasn't the slightest bit dissatisfied. On the contrary, he valued this youth even more. Such a heaven-defying monster was the future of Sky Dragon Empire. In this Sky Dragon Empire's genius competition, Lingtian's heaven-defying rise has caused the other three empires to be eyeing him covetously. There's also the incident at Hidden Dragon Island. Tianjin Empire and South Mountain Empire have gathered 3 million troops at the border of Sky Dragon Empire. I've received news that the super-powerful warriors of Tianjin Empire and South Mountain Empire have already entered Sky Dragon Empire. One can imagine their ambitions. Nangong Haoming waited for Li Lingtian to take his seat before announcing the purpose of the meeting to all the generals. Li Lingtian sat at the side while the generals in the court discussed the matter. In the end, it was decided that the 4 commanders would be stationed at Sky Dragon Empire's border city. Li Suifeng brought his men to the Thunderclap City, because the city was also an important military location. The last time they were sent back, there were countless super experts and soldiers in the city. On the other hand, Li Lingtian was just a foil. His main purpose was to introduce Li Lingtian to all the generals, so that they would not be overwhelmed by the Dragon King Temple. After the court session ended, Li Lingtian and his son returned to the marquisdom. Li Suifeng had to go on an expedition immediately, so Li Lingtian was temporarily cultivating at the marquisdom. After Li Suifeng went out to battle, the marquisdom had lost countless guards. Some of the family guards were also brought out by Li Suifeng. During this period of time, Li Lingtian was extremely relaxed. He cultivated at night and refined some pills to increase Little White and the rest's cultivation. Ever since Li Lingtian refined the Tier 4 Heavenly Monster pill, Little White had broken through from Tier 4 Level 3 to Tier 4 Level 4. The Jade-Eyed Beast and Multicolored Beast had made great progress and were now addicted to Li Lingtian's pills. The biggest reward was the Silver-Winged Flying Dragon's submission. In the face of the powerful dragon energy, the Silver-Winged Flying Dragon could only submit and become Li Lingtian's right-hand man. Of course, the Heavenly Fey pill was not without its help. Moreover, it spent most of its time cultivating in the Divine Dragon Ring. Moreover, it had obtained a drop of Little White's true dragon blood, which made its bloodline purer. With the shocking amount of dragon energy, the Silver-Winged Flying Dragon almost went crazy. Although the Jade-Eyed Beast and Multicolored Beast could not cultivate with dragon energy, they had obtained Little White's true dragon blood and their bloodlines had mutated. Thus, they had no effect on the dragon energy in the Divine Dragon Ring. The three demonic beasts were cultivating in the Divine Dragon Ring, while Little White was sleeping outside and eating the heavenly demonic pill that Li Lingtian had refined. After Li Lingtian reached Tier 3 Warrior King, Tier 1 and Tier 2 pills were no longer of much use. He could only use Tier 3 Void Spirit pills for cultivation. Currently, the Void Spirit pill that he refined was only of high grade. However, based on his understanding of medicinal pills, when he was at Tier 5, the Void Spirit pill was no longer of much use to him. He had to find a Tier 4 pill formula. On this day, a violent spiritual energy came from the room, and the spiritual energy spread out like an explosion. Psi 1 failed again. Li Lingtian looked at the medicinal powder in the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron. It was a precious 1,000-year-old herb, but it was nothing much. The main reason was that he wasted a drop of IO-year-old stalactite milk. A drop of IO-year-old stalactite milk could completely instantly restore the true essence of a martial ancestor, martial emperor, or even a martial venerable or martial emperor. He also had 2 bottles of 10,000-year stalactite milk, and used over 10 bottles of 1,000-year stalactite milk. It was absolutely heaven-defying to have so many of such natural treasures. However, the 10,000-year stalactite milk could only recover half of a martial king's cultivation. Even though the 10,000-year stalactite milk could instantly recover all of his true essence, he didn't want to waste it. He wanted to refine the 10,000-year stalactite milk into a precious pill to use. Try again. Li Lingtian pondered for a long time as he recalled his failed experiences. He wanted to pick himself up from where he failed. With that said, the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron appeared before him. He unleashed the 9 suns' holy fire. With his current cultivation, he could use the flames he cultivated to refine other things. The flames that were cultivated had a more precise control. The success rate of refining pills this way was also much higher. Naturally, the quality was needless to say. All kinds of medicinal herbs entered the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron. The demon beast's inner core was about to enter the cauldron. More than 10 medicinal herbs, inner cores, and blood essence had already fused. Tis! With a light sound, the 10,000-year stalactite milk dripped into the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron. H-boom! A shocking amount of spirit chi quickly surged into the cauldron. Li Lingtian's expression was extremely serious. Chapter 140 Chapter 140 Heaven-Defying Pill. Chapter 140 Heaven-Defying Pill. What a powerful spiritual energy fluctuation. Young Master is refining pills again. May first know what pill Young Master is refining this time. It should be a 4th grade medicinal pill. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a fluctuation of spiritual energy. Our young master is truly a heaven-defying talent. He killed a martial emperor at the age of 16 and is also a Tier 4 alchemy grandmaster. The guards in the marquisdom were shocked when they saw the spirit chi fluctuation in Li Lingtian's room. During this period of time, Li Lingtian had refined quite a number of elixirs. All of them had strong spirit chi fluctuations, and they had benefited greatly from it. Pilai completed. Li Lingtian, who was in the room, had a serious expression on his face. After a full 10 minutes, the heaven and earth creation cauldron's medicinal liquid had solidified. Li Lingtian's face lit up with excitement. He had successfully refined the pill this time. With a soft shout, the heaven and earth creation cauldron shot out a series of phantoms. The 36 pills continued to swirl in the air as the smile on Li Lingtian's face grew wider. This is the strengthened version of the blue dust pill. 1 foot 11 inches name you the heaven-defying pill. Li Lingtian extended his hand and a jade bottle appeared in his hand. A suction force appeared and the 36 pills were quickly absorbed into the jade bottle. For a Tier 4 alchemy grandmaster to successfully refine a special medicinal pill, it would be 4,936 pills. If there were less than 36 pills, it would be a failure. His current strength had already reached the peak of Tier 4 alchemy grandmaster because the quality of these 36 medicinal pills was high grade. The Heaven Fei pill he refined some time ago was also high grade. This was enough to show that his alchemy skills were at the peak of Tier 4. As long as one could refine a medicinal pill, one could become a level 5 spirit alchemist. The status of a spirit alchemist was extremely high. Even in the entire Eastern Spirit Azure continent, spirit alchemists could be counted on one hand. Wu Yun. Li Lingtian packed up his herbs and shouted. Wu Yun appeared in the courtyard as soon as he finished speaking and stood respectfully waiting for Li Lingtian's instructions. However, what puzzled him was that a shocking pressure was pressing down fiercely. This pressure was even the pressure of a martial emperor. Instinctively, he circulated all the true qi in his body to resist this pressure. However, when he circulated his true qi, it quickly flowed away. In the blink of an eye, all the true qi in his body disappeared. He slumped onto the ground weakly with a horrified expression on his face. He was not worried that Li Lingtian would punish him, but he was shocked by his young master's cultivation base. At the same time, young master was only a rank 3 martial king, while he was a rank 4 martial king. However, his genuine qi had disappeared in front of young master's pressure. What kind of skill was this? Even if he was facing the pressure of a martial emperor or martial grandmaster, he wouldn't be in such a situation. He was terrified. If young master didn't cultivate a mystical skill, he wouldn't believe it. While he was still in shock, Li Lingtian walked out of the room and nodded in satisfaction at Wu Yun, who was lying on the floor. Let's try the power of this pill. Li Lingtian threw a crystal-clear pellet at him with one hand. Wu Yun caught it and threw it into his mouth without hesitation. Boom! There was a rumble in his body as a shocking spiritual energy rushed into his body. The powerful spiritual energy automatically circulated in his meridians. What shocked him was that the true energy that had disappeared in his body instantly recovered to its peak. Young master, what kind of pill is this? Wu Yun was beyond shocked. If martial artists had such medicinal pills, they would not have to worry about running out of true qi. How could young master refine such a pill? Wasn't this too heaven-defying? This pill is for you. In this world, there is no other person who can refine such a pill. Remember, only you know about this pill. With a flick of Li Lingtian's finger, another pill was shot at Wu Yun. Although Wu Yun did not know what kind of pill it was, he was well aware of its power. It was absolutely heaven-defying. Moreover, young master had said that no one else in the world could refine such a pill. In other words, this pill was exclusively made by young master. With such a pill, he could recover his true qi at a critical moment. It might even save his life, so he quickly put it away like a treasure. This subordinate will remember this. Wu Yun said respectfully. Since young master said so, this pilei would definitely not be refined in batches. Naturally, it would not be given to others. This pill would only be owned by him. Li Lingtian waved his hand to signal Wu Yun to leave. Wu Yun bowed respectfully and left, leaving Li Lingtian alone in the courtyard in deep thought. It's time to go back. Sky Dragon City is the capital of Sky Dragon Empire. I believe that the people from the palace will do their best to eliminate the people from the other empires. Li Lingtian muttered to himself. His cultivation had already reached Tier 3 Warrior King, and he had become the focus of the empire. He believed that his Sky Cloud sect also had a grade 4 pill formula. There was no need for him to go to the market to look for it. Li Lingtian bid farewell to Qin Susu at the thought of this. It was Qin Susu's intention for him to bring Li Xiaoxiao along with him this time. He originally wanted to refuse, but he thought of his own Sky Peak. Having a few more people living there could also relieve his boredom. He didn't leave Sky Dragon City with Li Xiaoxiao. Instead, he walked towards the Tang family. He had been back to Sky Dragon City for a long time, but he hadn't visited the Tang family once. It would be rude to leave just like that. The beast carriage soon arrived at the Tang clan, Duke Xinggua's estate. From the outside, the entire manor looked countless times more powerful than the manor of the Marquis. This was also the rule of the empire. The buildings of the Marquis and Duke's residences had clear rules. After the beast carriage stopped, a few servants came up. So it's Lord Wu of the Northern Marquis' estate. A servant saw Wu Yun and politely said. They all knew about the relationship between the Northern Marquis Fu and the Tang clan. Moreover, their young miss was the fiancée of the Marquis Fu's prince. More importantly, young Master Ling Tian of the Marquisdom was the #1 genius on the prodigy roll, and his reputation shook the heavens. They knew that even though the cultivation of the servants was low, they were still young Master Ling Tian's admirers. My young master is here to visit the Marquis of Nanling. Wu Yun replied politely as the door of the beastie opened and Li Lingtian stepped out. Greetings, young noble Ling Tian. A few servants bowed respectfully with excited expressions on their faces. They were indeed excited to see their idol at such a close distance. Li Lingtian was led by a servant to the Tang family's backyard. Usually, guests were received in the front hall, but the servants were used to Li Lingtian's daily visits. Only acquaintances like Li Lingtian would enter the backyard as it was the core of the Tang family. Lord Marquis, young noble Lingtian is here. The servant who led the way quickly ran forward to inform Li Lingtian before he bowed and left. Li Lingtian was familiar with this place and naturally did not need him to be the third wheel. Oh, it's Tian. Let's go to Yinfeng Pavilion. Meng Meng and the others are at Yinfeng Pavilion. Tang Zicheng walked out of the study room and was delighted to see Li Lingtian. He did not have a son, but he was happy to have such a perfect son-in-law. Greetings, uncle. Li Lingtian quickly bowed. No matter how close they were, the ceremony could not be abandoned. Don't be so formal. After Tang Zicheng finished speaking, he led Li Lingtian to the backyard garden. The Tang family's garden was as big as 3 to 4 basketball courts. After entering the garden, Li Lingtian could hear laughter from time to time. Naturally, he was familiar with the laughter of the little beauty, Tang Ziming. He wondered what made her so happy. Li Lingtian walked toward the pavilion with a smile on his face. However, he was spotted by Tang Qingyue before he reached the pavilion. Tang Qingyue felt awkward when she saw Li Lingtian's arrival. The smile on her face vanished. Tang Ziming noticed her sister's condition and followed her gaze. She was instantly elated and ran toward Li Lingtian. Big brother Lingtian. Tang Ziming threw herself into Li Lingtian's arms without any hesitation. She even ignored Tang Zicheng, who was beside Li Lingtian. Tang Zicheng could only shake his head. He was too fond of this precious child. Lingtian greets aunt. Li Lingtian hurried to the pavilion after Tang Ziming. He could not be rude as there were elders here. He came to the pavilion and bowed to the blue screen. Finally, he nodded at Tang Qingyue and called out softly. The few of them chatted in the pavilion. To them, Li Lingtian was a family member, and there was no need to treat him as an outsider. After chatting for half an hour, Li Lingtian told them about his return to Sky Cloud Sect. Uncle, Auntie Lingtian will be returning to Sky Cloud Sect today, so I've specially come to pay my respects to Uncle and Auntie. Li Lingtian replied earnestly with an awkward expression. It had been so many days since he returned to Sky Dragon City, but this was his first time visiting the Tang family. Big brother Lingtian, you're going back to Sky Cloud Sect. Tang Ziming was shocked, but she soon realized that Li Lingtian could not possibly stay in Sky Dragon City every day. Tian'er is going back to Sky Cloud Sect to cultivate. That's a good thing. A man should have ambition. Although you're a martial king now and your strength is strong, the divine martial continent is too powerful. Your martial king realm is just the beginning. Tang Zicheng nodded in satisfaction. To be neither arrogant in victory nor discouraged in defeat was the temperament of a true martial artist. It was also the most basic mentality of a martial artist. Father, mother, I'm going back to Sky Cloud Sect 2. Tang Ziming quickly said to Tang Zicheng and his wife. Tang Zicheng and his wife only smiled. They would not know what this little girl was thinking. However, this was also good. Anyway, this girl was not young anymore. He could not control her all the time. It was a good thing to return with Li Lingtian, so the two of them nodded. They did not expect Tang Qingyue to return to Sky Cloud Sect as well. Not only them, but even Li Lingtian was stunned. If he followed his sister back to Sky Cloud Sect, he would be looking for trouble. Just nice, I'm going back to Sky Cloud Sect too. I'll try to make a breakthrough there. Tang Qingyue pondered for a moment before returning to Sky Cloud Sect. Sister Qingyue, you're going back to Sky Cloud Sect too? Li Lingtian asked seriously. He hoped that Tang Qingyue would not follow him back to Sky Cloud Sect or he would be in trouble. What, do you have an opinion? Even if you have objections, you can only endure it. Tang Qingyue's face revealed a sly smile. Li Lingtian was speechless. What kind of people are these? Even a beautiful lady should not be like this. No. Li Lingtian stammered. When Li Xiaoxiao and Qingping saw this, they could not help but burst out laughing. Alright, you guys go and prepare. Go back to Sky Cloud Sect and cultivate well. Tang Zicheng nodded and said. Then Tang Qingyue and Tang Ziming quickly left and returned to their rooms to pack up. Uncle, these are some spirit fruits that Tianer obtained from Hidden Dragon Island. They are quite effective for cultivation and the body. Li Lingtian took out a storage bag and handed it to Tang Zicheng. There were countless spirit fruits in his divine dragon ring, and he could not finish them all in a short time. Alright. Satisfied, Tang Zicheng put away the storage bag with the slightest hesitation. In the end, the two of them chatted idly. Soon, Tang Qingyue and her sister had finished packing and returned to the pavilion. Finally, Li Lingtian, the sisters Qingping and Xiaoxiao left the Tang family. Tang Qingyue had servants in Sky Cloud Sect, so she didn't need to bring any maids. However, Tang Ziming brought Qingping along. War Gods Supreme. Chapter 141 Chapter 141 Heavenly Cloud Flying Ship. Chapter 141 Heavenly Cloud Flying Ship. After leaving the Tang family, they rode an ordinary beast carriage and headed out of Sky Dragon City. Inside the beast carriage, Tang Ziming was snuggling up to Li Lingtian, looking sweet and affectionate. Qingping and Li Xiaoxiao were chatting and laughing. Only Tang Qingyue could not bear to watch any longer and closed her eyes to meditate. After an hour, the beast carriage left Sky Dragon City and stopped at a relatively remote place. After the five of them alighted from the vehicle, the beast carriage left. Li Lingtian extended his hand and summoned a gigantic spaceship. This spaceship was obtained from Wind Demon last time. Now that Wind Demon was dead, this spaceship naturally belonged to him. Although it was only a flying ship, its level was not low. It was actually an emperor-level existence. After the flying ship was fully activated, it was 100 meters long and 50 meters wide. The flying ship was called the Heavenly Cloud Flying Ship, and it was covered with countless restrictions and defenses. As long as they didn't encounter any martial emperor-level experts, no one could pose a threat to this flying ship. Even a martial emperor couldn't destroy this spaceship. Such a spaceship was naturally very safe. Wow, what a huge spaceship! Tang Ziming exclaimed when she saw the spaceship. Li Xiaoxiao and Qingping did the same. Tang Qingyue's eyes lit up when she saw the spaceship Li Lingtian took out. Although the Tang family was powerful, they were only powerful in Sky Dragon Empire. However, the items that Li Lingtian had brought out were all super items. Naturally, they rarely saw them. Young master, where did you get this flying ship? Did Sky Cloud Sect give it to you? Li Xiaoxiao saw how impressive the flying ship was. It was similar to the time when Li Lingtian first saw Sky Cloud Sect's flying ship. In her opinion, only Sky Cloud Sect had such a thing. No one got this heavenly cloud ship when one went to the Devil Sea and killed a martial emperor. Sigh, that battle was the most tragic one I've ever seen. More than 500 warrior spirits were all killed, and not a single warrior king was left. There were only 10 martial grandmasters left out of the 57. Li Lingtian sighed when he mentioned the battle with Wind Demon. The situation at that time was extremely dangerous. If he had not used the heavenly extreme tyrant Emperor Saber at the last moment, he would have died in the Devil's Sea. You killed a martial emperor some time ago. Devil's Sea. So many supreme experts have died. So many martial kings and martial grandmasters have died. Tang Ziming and the other girls were shocked. Li Lingtian was only a warrior spirit a while ago. They did not expect him to kill a martial emperor before Beichen Wuyo. The deaths of so many warrior spirits, martial kings, and martial grandmasters were truly shocking to them. Any warrior spirit or warrior king was extremely powerful, let alone a warrior ascendant. According to Li Lingtian, all the warrior kings and warrior spirits were dead, leaving only 10 warrior ascendants. How did Li Lingtian return? Big brother Lingtian, can you tell Mengmeng what happened? Yes, young master, tell us what happened at that time. Tang Ziming and Li Xiaoxiao were both shocked and afraid. The situation was so dangerous that Li Lingtian must have been in danger too. Let's go. We'll get on the spaceship first. I'll tell you guys when we get on it. Li Lingtian nodded and took the lead to board the spaceship. He placed a superior grade spirit stone into the spaceship slot and cast a spell. Immediately, the array formation inside the spaceship was activated. A light barrier covered the flying ship, blocking the strong wind outside. The flying ship left the ground without shaking at all, quickly rising to an altitude of 10,000 meters, flying rapidly into the distance. Following that, Li Lingtian recounted what happened that day. The 4 ladies were shaken to their core by the story. Fortunately, Li Lingtian returned safely. A wind demon at the level of a martial emperor can be resurrected indefinitely. Is there really such a powerful and magical existence in this world? Tang Qingyue was also shocked. Although she didn't show it, she was shocked. This young man had experienced life and death at the age of 16. Then the flying ship left Sky Dragon City and headed toward Sky Cloud Sect. Li Lingtian entered the main control room and took control of the entire spacecraft. Tang Ziming stayed with him. Tang Qingyue chose a room to sit down and rest. It was extremely safe on the spaceship and there was food and water. There were countless spiritual fruits, so the girls were naturally not annoyed at all. Li Lingtian stood at the front of the spaceship and watched the clouds fly backward in the sky. The fresh air was refreshing. From time to time, they would encounter some martial artists who were driving flying ships, as well as martial kings and martial spirits who were flying on swords. There were even martial grandmasters flying in the air. Wow, what an impressive spaceship. Look at the girls around him. All of them are peerless fairies. They're really lucky. On a small spaceship in the distance, a few martial king warriors were shocked when they saw Li Lingtian's spaceship. They were stunned when they saw Tang Ziming and the girls. Do you know who he is? If you continue to spout nonsense, one will slap you to death. Even if you want to die, don't drag us down. A martial arts grandmaster powerhouse was horrified when he saw Li Lingtian. He berated the warrior king disciple beside him angrily. If they angered the youth in the distance, they would not know how they died. Senior Uncle Qinglan, who is he? He's just a rank 3 martial king. A young man was looking at Li Lingtian. However, after seeing Li Lingtian's cultivation base, there was a hint of disdain in his eyes. He secretly thought that his uncle master was becoming more and more timid. He was even afraid of a tier 3 martial king warrior. That's right, Uncle Master. That young man is only a rank 3 martial king. All of us here are tier 6 martial kings and above. Uncle Master is a tier 4 martial arts grandmaster. Besides, even if he heard what we said, he could only watch. Would he dare to do anything to us? A few warrior king disciples chimed in as well. They looked at Li Lingtian with disdain, but their greed for the spaceship was apparent. Say another word and 1 foot 11 inches slap you to death. Don't you know he's young noble Lingtian? The number 1 genius on the prodigy roll. Qinglan was completely speechless. She was extremely anxious. If that youth heard it, they would be dead for sure. First on the prodigy roll. Uncle Master, we've been cultivating in seclusion for a while, and missed the fight for the prodigy role. It's such a pity. How did a Tier 3 martial king become #1 on the prodigy role? Sigh. Yeah, if we participate, we will definitely enter the prodigy role. Pa pa pa. The few youths continued to discuss among themselves. Qing Lan, who was standing at the side, was extremely anxious. Immediately a few loud slaps were thrown out. Instantly, the few martial king realm youths were stunned. Kill martial emperor Beichen Wuyo and kill Yang Tianming. Ice and fire duel martial souls with a 3-colored dragon. Do you think you can do it? Qing Lan looked at the few disciples with disdain. No wonder the sect was not strong. With such a disciple, it was simply a dream for the sect to become strong. The martial king's disciples looked at him in disbelief. They immediately shut their mouths and did not dare to speak. A martial king killing a martial emperor, what kind of concept was this? They did not even dare to imagine it. They didn't know anything else, but they were very clear about Yang Tianming's strength. Among the martial arts grandmasters, there were very few people who were Yang Tianming's match. Now even Yang Tianming had been killed. How terrifying was this youth? Li Lingtian flew the spaceship at high speed. He completely ignored the discussions among the warriors. In just 3 days, the spaceship had arrived above Sky Cloud Sect. The powerful pressure of the spaceship woke up countless disciples of Sky Cloud Sect. In an instant, dozens of warrior kings and some elders flew out. However, they were all respectful and excited when they saw Li Lingtian on the spaceship. Junior brother Ling Tian. Senior brother Ling Tian. Senior brother Li. Countless warriors cheered loudly. Li Lingtian was a disciple of Sky Cloud Sect, and a legend of Sky Cloud Sect. The news of Sky Dragon Empire's #1 genius competing in Sky Dragon City had long spread throughout Sky Dragon Empire. Naturally, Sky Cloud Sect's disciples knew about it. During this period of time, young Master Lingtian was the most talked about person in Sky Cloud Sect. This young Master Lingtian was Sky Cloud Sect's ice and fire dual martial soul genius, Li Lingtian. The Sky Cloud Sect disciples regarded Li Lingtian as a role model instead of a target. As Li Lingtian was a legend and a miracle, they could only work hard in their cultivation. Li Lingtian's return immediately drew the cheers of tens of thousands of Sky Cloud Sect disciples. Li Lingtian used to be an outer disciple, but he rose to prominence and became Sky Dragon Empire's #1 genius. Moreover, Li Lingtian was the Heavenly Pavilion Master and the honorary elder of Sky Cloud Sect. Li Lingtian landed the spaceship and greeted some elders before bringing Tang Zimeng and the rest back to Tianyu Peak. Tang Qingyue returned to Yunming Restaurant alone. Tang Zimeng, Qingping, and Li Xiaoxiao lived in the Tianyu Pavilion on the Heavenly Universe Peak. Li Lingtian was the master of the place. Seeing the scenery and spiritual energy of Tianyu Peak, the girls were extremely happy. Everyone chose their own rooms to stay in. Li Lingtian nodded when he saw the popularity of the Tianyu Pavilion. He was no longer alone. Li Lingtian had set up a few spots in the Tianyu Pavilion. The only ones that were not accessible were his alchemy room and his cultivation room. He wasn't worried that Tang Ziming and the others would find out any secrets, but he couldn't be disturbed when he was cultivating and refining pills. Cultivation and alchemy were related. If he interrupted alchemy, it would affect his mind. However, Tang Ziming had come to the Tianyu Pavilion as the hostess because she was Li Lingtian's fiancée. Mengmeng, Qingping, Xiaoxiao, try your best to speed up your cultivation during this period of time, and improve your cultivation. If you lack cultivation techniques, skills, weapons, and pills, just ask me. Li Lingtian passed some Tier 1 and Tier 2 pills to Li Xiaoxiao and Qingping. As both of them were warriors, high-level pills would be harmful to them. After that, he chose quite a number of spirit armaments and profound armaments for them. Towards his own people, he would never be stingy in the slightest. Thank you, young master. Qingping and Li Xiaoxiao bowed politely, then took their cultivation techniques and skills out to cultivate. No one could come up to the heavenly space peak, so they were safe and free here. Chapter 142 Valley of the Medicine Masters. Chapter 142 Valley of the Medicine Masters. The two of them usually cultivated and only had a small amount of time to do some basic things. Mingming, you have a mystic spirit body. 1 foot 11 inches give you a cultivation technique that can help you improve your cultivation quickly. One also cultivate this cultivation technique, but no matter who it is, don't tell anyone about it. Li Lingtian said earnestly. The heaven and earth reincarnation was his most powerful cultivation technique, and it was beyond the scope of all cultivation techniques in the divine martial continent. After saying that, he used his divine sense to organize the heaven and earth reincarnation technique that he had cultivated. Then, he pointed with one hand and a golden light shot towards Tang Ziming's glabella. Suddenly, countless golden words appeared in Tang Ziming's mind. After a full minute, Li Lingtian passed the heaven and earth reincarnation technique to Tang Ziming. Seeing that Tang Ziming was still in the midst of her comprehension, he left the room gently and went to the courtyard to cultivate. After settling down, Li Lingtian began cultivating in peace. He learned from Tang Zicheng that the world was not that simple and the martial king realm was just the beginning. People like Tang Zicheng usually wouldn't talk nonsense. Since he could say this, something must be going on. Moreover, with the realm of a martial king, there was no way he could withstand these things. In fact, even if Tang Zicheng did not say anything, he knew that the divine martial continent was not as simple as it seemed based on his experience and the wisdom of the 21st century. Eastern Spirit Azure continent might seem powerful, but it was only a remote place in the entire divine martial continent. It was the weakest place. Although he was a martial king now and his strength could be compared to a martial arts grandmaster, he was just an ant when facing a true expert. If he wanted to protect his brothers, relatives, and women, he needed to have great strength. He did not want to have any regrets in his life. His cultivation technique had the heaven and earth reincarnation technique and the true dragon's protection. Skills including ice, fire, 9 heavens/sky, meteor shower, and heaven and earth conflagration. With the ancient alchemy techniques and the heaven and earth creation cauldron, he could refine peerless pills. He had the roaring dragon combat halberd, the heaven extreme tyrant emperor saber, and some peerless profound level weapons. Pets included little white, silver wing flying dragon, multicolored beast, and jade-eyed beast. The only thing he had to do now was to refine pills to cultivate cultivation techniques, increase his cultivation, and cultivate skills to strengthen himself. Refining treasures to strengthen one's strength required a large amount of time. He made some arrangements. During the day, he would cultivate various skills. At night, he would comprehend pill formulas and cultivation techniques, and cultivate the heaven and earth reincarnation technique and the true dragon body barrier. When he was free, he would refine pills and accompany this beautiful girl, Tang Ziming. Tang Ziming and the others also worked hard on their cultivation. In just a month, Tang Ziming's cultivation had reached Tier 8 warrior spirit, with her mystical spirit body and heaven and earth reincarnation. Qingping and Xiaoxiao had also successfully advanced to the warrior numinous stage. Li Lingtian could not help but be envious of their speed. More importantly, the silver-winged flying dragon had completely absorbed Little White's blood essence, and had now broken through to the 5th step. After the mutation, its strength was extremely terrifying. The jade-eyed beast had also reached level 4, level 8, while the multicolored beast was level 4, level 5. Little White was the only one who hadn't advanced. However, it hadn't advanced for long. It was very powerful and it rarely fought. On this day, Li Lingtian finished his cultivation and left the Tianyu Pavilion for the inner sect. With his current identity, he could enter any place in the library pavilion. He did not lack skills and cultivation techniques, but he wanted to find some information. This time, countless martial artists bowed respectfully, their faces revealing crazy worship. This young man was the legend of Sky Cloud sect. He was the #1 genius in Sky Dragon Empire. A rank 1 martial king had killed a rank 4 martial emperor. After Li Lingtian bowed to the old man guarding the library, he walked up to the highest floor of the library. There were 4 levels in the library. The first level was for warriors, the second level was for warrior spirits, the third level was for martial kings, and the fourth level was for martial grandmasters. He was the Sky Pavilion Master and had a special status. In addition to the Sky Dragon Empire competition, He had become the #1 genius of Sky Dragon Empire, and was qualified to enter the 4th level. On the 4th floor, Li Lingtian looked around for a long time. Even though they were all Mystic Science and Earth class, he was not interested in them anymore. At this moment, a jade slip appeared in his sight. Heaven-destroying sword formation. Upon seeing the jade slip, Li Lingtian probed his divine consciousness into the jade slip. Immediately, a strong surge of heart's blood rushed into his mind. Upon receiving this information, Li Lingtian's expression kept changing. It was as if he had seen a ghost or a magical treasure. The heaven-destroying sword formation is a technique of the ancient Almighty. No one in the divine martial continent has ever cultivated it. Li Lingtian was shocked. There was a restriction in the jade slip as well. With his cultivation base, he could only see a portion of the information. This jade slip recorded the techniques of ancient mighty figures. It was the techniques of mighty figures, not skills. In the words of the divine martial continent, an almighty's technique was a divine ability. However, even the experts of the divine martial continent did not understand that the power of an almighty's technique was far beyond that of a divine ability. To cultivate the heaven-destroying sword formation, one must cultivate sword intent. Sword formations mainly consist of sword intent, sword force, sword domain, and sword path. In the divine martial continent, there are people who have cultivated sword intent but not many. However, there are very few who have cultivated sword force. It's almost rare. Even in Eastern Spirit Azure continent, no one has cultivated sword force. Li Lingtian quietly studied it with excitement on his face. The more difficult the cultivation method and skill was, the more he liked it. The startling heaven sword technique was difficult to cultivate, but he had cultivated it to the extreme. It's you. Li Lingtian muttered to himself as he looked at the jade slip. He then took the jade slip to Chao's library. Initially, he wanted the old man to help him make a copy, but he could not make a copy of this jade slip. This was left behind by the founder of Sky Cloud sect. No one can cultivate it. Similarly, the information in this jade slip cannot be replicated. The old man said seriously. He was very curious about this young man. Although he had only seen him a few times, he was surprised every time. Then senior this. Li Lingtian was stunned. Since the jade slip could not be duplicated, his cultivation would be ruined. You are the Sky Pavilion master now. No one has cultivated this jade slip before. Take it. The old man did not hesitate as he spoke calmly. He then closed his eyes to rest, completely ignoring Li Lingtian. Thank you, senior. Li Lingtian bowed respectfully before leaving the library with the jade slip. I hope you can cultivate it. In the past 10,000 years, no one has been able to cultivate the heaven-destroying sword formation. The future of Sky Cloud sect depends on you. But it's best not to provoke that person. Otherwise, even the martial god will be wiped out. After Li Lingtian left the library, the old man opened his sharp eyes with a look of anticipation on his face. The aura around his entire body surged. If Li Lingtian were to discover this aura here, he would definitely be shocked to death. Even Beichen Wuya was just an ant in front of this aura. However, when the old man thought of that powerful existence, fear appeared on his face. His eyes were filled with incomparable Beijing opera. Although it was only a legend, that legend made him feel fear. No one knew that it was this heaven-destroying sword formation that achieved his supreme divine might. Even he himself did not expect the heaven-destroying sword formation to have such shocking power and secrets. After Li Lingtian left the library, he headed straight for the Valley of the Medicine Masters. Like Tianyu Peak, the Valley of the Medicine Masters had a special status. The Valley of the Medicine Masters was the place where the Sky Cloud sect refined elixirs. Every disciple in the Valley of the Medicine Masters knew how to refine elixirs. There were countless alchemists, and there were even 3 level 4 alchemy masters and 1 spirit alchemist. The Medicine King's Valley is an important place. No one is allowed to enter. More than 10 warrior spirit realm disciples stopped Li Lingtian with smiles on their faces when they saw him. From Li Lingtian's appearance, he was just an outer disciple. Furthermore, with his current cultivation base, a warrior spiritual realm would not be able to tell. Even a martial grandmaster might not be able to see through Li Lingtian's cultivation base, let alone a warrior's spiritual realm. The dozen or so disciples treated Li Lingtian as an outer disciple. Medicine King's Valley had a transcendent status in Sky Cloud sect. Disciples who could enter Medicine King's Valley knew alchemy, and alchemists were respected everywhere. When they saw an ordinary disciple coming, they naturally had to stop him. "I wish to find Senior Tianming," Li Lingtian said calmly. At any time there would always be some disciples who were blind in any sect. Yao Tianming was the elder of the Valley of the Medicine Masters and the only spirit alchemist. His status was revered. Even if the sect master came, he would have to be polite to him. "How arrogant! You actually want to see our elder? Who do you think you are? You're just an ordinary disciple. How can you have the qualifications? Not to mention you, even if the sect elders come, they have to follow the procedures. You can't enter. Don't use Elder Tianming to fool us. Aren't you just here to ask for medicinal pills? As long as you take out 1,000 spirit stones, one can give you some essence cultivating pills." The dozen or so young disciples laughed out loud. Li Lingtian had encountered such a situation before, but it was fortunate that those who laughed at him could no longer do so. According to him, he would make those who showed off in front of him tremble. "My name is Li Lingtian." Li Lingtian looked at the dozen or so young men with a calm expression as if he was watching a monkey's show. After the dozen or so young men had finished speaking, he spoke at a moderate pace. His calm voice was like a thunderclap in the hearts of the young disciples. Instantly, the smiles on the faces of the dozen or so young men froze. This name was like a bolt of lightning, striking them so hard that they were crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian, young master Lingtian. Your young noble Lingtian. Are you really Li Lingtian, young master Lingtian? Young master Lingtian of the prodigy role. Heavenly Pavilion Master, young master Lingtian. In an instant, the smiles on the faces of the dozen or so young men turned into fear. They could no longer smile as they stammered. Chapter 143, Sword Intent. Chapter 143, Sword Intent. There were tens of thousands of disciples in Sky Cloud sect. Some of them did not know the name of the sect leader, but everyone knew of young Master Lingtian's existence. In this world, the first to laugh was not necessarily the winner. It would depend on who had the last laugh and who had the best laugh. Li Lingtian watched as the smile on the dozen or so young men's faces stiffened. A faint smile appeared on his calm face. "Laugh, continue laughing. Laugh loudly. Before I came out, one noticed that you guys weren't laughing. I'll make sure that you guys never laugh again." With a smile on his face, Li Lingtian strolled past the group of youths and headed straight for the pavilion in Medicine King's Valley. Soon, his figure disappeared from the pavilion. Laughter came from behind, but this laughter was worse than crying. Amidst the countless pavilions, Li Lingtian discovered that the spiritual qi here was extremely dense. There was wood element spiritual qi everywhere. In the end, after asking around, he found Elder Tianming in the alchemy room. Li Lingtian greets senior brother Tianming. When Li Lingtian saw the old man who had finished refining the pill, he bowed as an equal with a faint smile on his face. He was the Sky Pavilion Master and also a martial king, while the other party was an elder of the Valley of the Medicine Masters and also a martial king. The two of them were naturally of the same generation. "So it's junior brother Lingtian. Please come in." The expression on Tianming's face changed extremely quickly. In his eyes, most people who came here were here to ask for medicinal pills, but this young man in front of him didn't dare to offend him. Other geniuses, no matter how talented they were, could not do without medicinal pills. However, this genius was an amazing alchemy grandmaster. The super disciples who had returned from the Sky Dragon Empire Grand Tournament did not forget about Li Lingtian's strength and methods. They were all in awe of him. A Tier 9 warrior spirit had killed young Tianming, and a Tier 4 martial emperor had been lulled by a martial king. There was no one else in Sky Dragon Empire with such strength. To him, Tianming, all martial artists needed medicinal pills. Even a martial emperor would not easily offend him. However, he received a piece of information. This youth was an alchemy grandmaster, and he could easily refine a high-grade tier 4 medicinal pill. Such strength even he couldn't do it. Spirit alchemists could refine level 5 pills, but they could only refine level 5 pills of ordinary quality. Pills were divided into ordinary pills, high-grade pills, and peerless pills. There were also people who called it low-grade, high-grade, and peerless, while there were also people who called it low-grade, high-grade, and peerless. However, no matter what it was called, the quality was the same. It was 3 levels of quality. No matter how powerful an ordinary medicinal pill was, it was still an ordinary medicinal pill. Wanting to refine a high-grade one was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. On the other hand, Li Lingtian had produced superior grade elixirs right away. Furthermore, he had refined the peerless spirit binding pill and vitality pill. He would never believe that Li Lingtian had come to ask for pills. Senior brother Tianming is too polite. One came to Medicine King's Valley to find a 4th grade purple jade pill recipe from you. Li Lingtian immediately revealed his purpose for coming here. That's easy to say. Isn't it just a tier 4 purple jade pill formula? Tianming smiled and said, this pill formula was only commonly seen among the 4th grade pills. However, all the martial artists in the divine martial continent use this pill formula. But to truly refine it, it was not that simple. Only top-notch alchemy grandmasters could refine it. He believed that Li Lingtian would be able to refine it, but he also wanted to know if Li Lingtian could refine the purple jade pill to the quality of a superior grade pill. Moreover, he wanted to find this youth to exchange ideas on pili refinement. A person who could refine peerless pills was definitely not simple. Li Lingtian understood and did not reject Tianming. The two of them shared a private room to exchange their alchemy skills. Li Lingtian had already mastered the ancient alchemy technique. Just a simple point from him was like a revelation to Tianming. Some of the difficult problems he encountered during alchemy were easily solved, and he was instantly excited. Junior brother Lingtian, please come often in the future. Junior brother Lingtian's alchemy Dao has already reached a miraculous level. As long as there's enough time, I believe junior brother Lingtian will become the strongest alchemy master in Eastern Spirit Azure continent. The two of them conversed for an hour before Li Lingtian took the pill formula and left. Tianming's face was filled with excitement. He had gained more in this hour than he would ever have in his entire life. When Li Lingtian left, he saw a dozen youths still laughing loudly. The alchemist's face was extremely pale, and his laughter was uglier than crying. You are just disciples of the Valley of the Medicine Masters. You don't know how to restrain yourselves. How can you be disciples of a super sect? In the future, when other disciples come here, it's best to consider their identity first. Are they still disciples of Sky Cloud sect? Li Lingtian looked at the dozen or so youths indifferently before he waved his hand and turned to leave. Upon seeing Li Lingtian's gesture, the dozen or so young men finally stopped. They had no strength left in their bodies, but they were shocked. Young Master Lingtian was indeed young Master Lingtian. His temperament was not something they could compare to. This young Master Lingtian was once an outer disciple, and had been humiliated before. However, he was able to become the #1 genius in the Heavenly Dragon realm. On the other hand, they were only at the martial spirit realm and only knew how to bully low-level disciples. Li Lingtian was satisfied with the heaven-destroying sword formation and the grade 4 purple jade pill formula. He then returned to Tianyu Peak. Along the way, the disciples who saw Li Lingtian greeted him respectfully with admiration on their faces. After returning to Tianyu Peak, Li Lingtian gave Tang Ziming some of the elixirs. If Xiao Xiao and Qingping did not have any elixirs, Tang Ziming could give them to them. This was because he had to go into seclusion to comprehend the heaven-destroying sword formation and the 4th grade purple jade pill during this period of time. He had no control over these two items and would only feel at ease after he had control over them. In fact, no one came to disturb him on Tianyu Peak. When Li Lingtian first returned, he had given Shweta a lot of spiritual stones, weapons, and elixirs. After preparing everything, he went to his room to study the purple jade pill formula. He had refined a tier 4 heavenly Yao pill some time ago. This purple jade pill was not some heaven-defying pill, so it was relatively easy to study it. In 10 days, the purple jade pill was successfully refined. Similarly, the pills produced by the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron were all high-grade pills. If time was enough and one was familiar with the alchemy technique, it would not be a problem for them to refine a peerless pill. After refining the purple jade pill, his most important task now was basically completed. What he needed now was time to cultivate and increase his cultivation and strength. However, after the purple jade pill was refined, he did not cultivate. Instead, he went to comprehend the heaven-destroying sword formation. From the information in the jade slip, he discovered that this sword formation was not that simple. His divine sense entered the jade slip and memorized the information inside again, trying not to miss out on anything. Just like that, he withdrew his consciousness and entered a state of clarity to comprehend the heaven-destroying sword formation. The heaven-destroying sword formation is actually not like that. The sword formation only appears at the end because one can only control the sword formation when one cultivates the sword Tao. Rather than calling it the heaven-destroying sword formation, it's better to call it the heaven-destroying sword art. The first move, Sword Howl. Li Lingtian opened his eyes and gained a basic understanding of the heaven-destroying sword formation. This was also his personal opinion. He could tell that the sword howl of heaven and earth was not something that could be easily cultivated. Sky Cloud sect was as quiet as ever. All the disciples followed Li Lingtian's example and cultivated diligently. On Tianyu Peak, Tang Ziming and the other 2 girls were also cultivating seriously. With the pills and resources, they would not slack off. Besides, Tang Ziming did not have Li Lingtian's company, so she spent most of her time cultivating. Time passed quickly and a month passed. Li Lingtian did not leave the room for a single step throughout the month. On this day, Tang Ziming and the others were resting and chatting in the courtyard when a destructive sword intent suddenly erupted from Li Lingtian's room. That's right, it was sword intent, not power or aura. This kind of sword intent was completely emitted by the martial artist's body. It was a kind of will. The will of the sword, the domineering sharpness of the sword. The 3 ladies were shocked when they discovered the sword intent. They knew Li Lingtian's cultivation base, cultivation method, and skills, but they did not have such a powerful sword intent. Big brother Lingtian cultivates sword intent. Tang Ziming looked at the sword intent of Tianyu Pavilion in shock, and her expression kept changing. One saw young master perform a sword technique called the Startling Heaven Sword Technique. Could it be the Startling Heaven Sword Technique? Li Xiaoxiao exclaimed in surprise. Back at the Marquisdom, Li Lingtian had demonstrated the 3 stunning moves of the astounding sword technique, but he had never used them before. With his cultivation, there was no need for him to use any skills below mystic grade. Li Xiaoxiao was right. Although Li Lingtian was not cultivating the astounding sword technique, the heaven-destroying sword formation was something he had comprehended from the 1,000 shadows and petals. 1,000 shadow petals had already been cultivated to the transcendent state, and its power was shocking. Even an ordinary earth-rank skill could not be as powerful as 1,000 shadow petals. Moreover, the sword itself was sharp. Its power was definitely the strongest among skills of the same level. After a period of comprehension, the sword howl of the heavens and the earth could not be cultivated successfully at all. This was because the moves cultivated only had form and no spirit. This was because he had to cultivate the sword intent before he could truly control the move Sword Howl of Heaven and Earth. With a flash of inspiration, he actually thought of the 1,000 shadows flying flowers he had cultivated some time ago. Thinking of all this, he was blessed and actually cultivated sword intent. A powerful sword will shot out in all directions. Li Lingtian was shocked when he sensed the power of this sword will. He had just comprehended the sword intent, and it was already so powerful. If he really controlled it, how powerful would the sword intent be? With a flick of his divine sense, the azulate sword appeared in his hand. He waved his hand, and a stream of sword intent was unleashed. The sword howl of heaven and earth was naturally cultivated. Whoosh! The air was torn apart and even Tianyu Peak was trembling. Li Lingtian was left in the room with one hand, feeling the power of sword howl of the heavens and earth. This sword howl heaven and earth had already surpassed ordinary skills. It was an invisible Tao. What was invisible killing? This was invisible killing. The sword howl is indeed powerful. Li Lingtian put away his azulate sword. The sword howl of the heavens and earth that was unleashed by a low-grade profound weapon was already so powerful. If he were to truly control the sword howl of the heavens and earth, he had no idea what kind of effect it would bring with his cultivation base and better weapon. Sword intent is the will of a sword, and also the will of a person. A man should be like a sharp sword, hiding a low profile in the sheath, sharp and domineering like a sharp sword unsheathed, unyielding. Feeling the sword will, Li Lingtian's state of mind was elevated. His entire body exuded a sharp sword-like aura, as if a sharp sword had been unsheathed, comma. Chapter 144. Chapter 144. Chapter 145. Chapter 145. Saint Weapon Tianyu Sword. Chapter 145. Saint Weapon Tianyu Sword. A moment later, the sword will disappeared and Li Lingtian returned to his former self, looking no different from an ordinary youth. When he walked out of the room, he saw Tang Ziming and the other two girls looking at the changes in the sky in surprise. With a sword strike, the space was torn apart. Big brother Lingtian, what skill do you cultivate? It's so powerful. Tang Zi dreamed that Li Lingtian had come out. She missed him so much that she threw herself into his arms after not seeing him for a month. Yes, some time ago I found a skill called the heaven-destroying sword formation in the library. After studying it for a month, I finally comprehended it. Li Lingtian looked at the beautiful girl in his arms and his face lit up with joy. Qingping and Li Xiaoxiao were elated as well. Li Lingtian's strength was their backer and future. Xiaoxiao, let's go cook and celebrate with young master. Qingping didn't want to be a third wheel when she saw her young miss and young master together. She quickly reminded Li Xiaoxiao and the two of them quickly left the courtyard and walked to the kitchen. Tang Ziming snuggled into Li Lingtian's arms, enjoying the warmth and security. The entire Tianyu Peak was picturesque, like a fairyland in the 9 heavens. The two of them merged into this mountain peak. A place with Big Brother Lingtian is a paradise. Tang Ziming murmured as she stared at Li Lingtian with her beautiful eyes, causing Li Lingtian's heart to tremble. This Tang Ziming was so beautiful that it made one's heart tremble. Even the 9 heavenly maiden in one's imagination was far inferior to her. Even with his knowledge from the 21st century, he could not find words to describe Tang Ziming's beauty. This was a kind of beauty, a kind of temperament, a kind of intoxicating purity. Li Lingtian held Tang Ziming in his arms as he gazed into the distance. He was satisfied with Tang Ziming after coming to this world. Gradually, his mental state entered a wonderful realm. Everything in the world came alive, and his spiritual sense and perception became incomparably powerful. His divine sense enveloped the entire sky peak. Even an ant would find it difficult to escape his divine sense. Eh? At that moment, Li Lingtian exclaimed in surprise. He immediately opened his eyes and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. As if he had seen something strange, his expression changed endlessly. Big brother Lingtian, what's wrong? Tang Ziming was enjoying Li Lingtian's embrace when she heard Li Lingtian's exclamation. She was jolted awake and looked at him curiously. I didn't expect my sky peak to have such an existence. Let's go. Li Lingtian muttered to himself. After that, he wrapped his arm around Tang Ziming and dashed toward the pool on the side of Skyward Peak. The last place they landed was by the pond. They looked at the pond seriously. The pond was green and emitted a faint cold air. This Tianyu Peak was at least 2,000 meters tall, and this pool was also nearly 2,000 meters above the ground. However, the water in this pool was still alive, which was strange to him. However, he didn't pay much attention to this pond when he found it last time. He was just curious. Just a moment ago, his state of mind had sublimated, and his divine sense and sword intent had fused. He had actually felt an astonishing sword intent flickering. If he hadn't cultivated the sword essence, he wouldn't have been able to discover the existence of this sword essence. And this sword intent was emitted from the pool. He was not a fool. If there was no treasure in the pool, there would definitely not be sword intent. His sword intent could sense the existence of all swords. As long as it was a sword, no matter what level it was, he could sense it within a certain range. Ming, wait for me here. I'll go down and take a look. Li Lingtian gave Tang Ziming some instructions before he shifted his gaze to the pool. Yes. Tang Ziming nodded. Li Lingtian always had his reasons for doing things. Naturally, there was no danger in this place since it was Tianyu Peak. However, when she saw Li Lingtian's actions, her face flushed red. Whoosh! 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 Li Lingtian had taken off her clothes right in front of her, leaving her with only a pair of shorts. How could she not feel embarrassed when a man took off his clothes in front of her? Even though Li Lingtian was her fiancé, it was her first time doing something like this. Big brother Lingtian? Tang Ziming called out softly, not daring to look up at Li Lingtian. I want to go down. Help me hold my clothes. Li Lingtian was stunned, but he immediately understood that there was a peerless beauty beside him. However, he was used to it since he would always take off his clothes when he swam. Tang Ziming was his fiancé, so he did not pay much attention to this. Now that he thought about it, it was a little abrupt. In a flash, he had already entered the pool. A ripple appeared in the pool, and Li Lingtian was nowhere to be seen. When Tang Ziming saw Li Lingtian's disappearance, she hugged Li Lingtian's clothes in her arms. She was still extremely shy when she thought of brother Lingtian's earlier appearance. F***ck. I'm the one who's cold. As soon as Li Lingtian entered the pool, he felt as if he had entered an ice cellar and forgot to warm up. However, his instinctive defense was used. The true dragon body barrier protected his entire body, and his body quickly sank down. The water in the pond was green. He found a problem. The pond was 5 meters wide and 10 meters long. The pool looked as if it had been carved out by a knife, and the stone walls were as smooth as mirrors. After sinking for 3,000 meters, the oppressive force in the pool had already pushed Li Lingtian's warrior king cultivation to the maximum. Finally, they landed on the ground. Under the pool was a huge array altar that emitted dense sword intent. Defend. Sword intent. This sword intent did not belong to him. He did not dare to be careless. He could only display his own defense and walk forward step by step. Boom! A shocking sword intent came crashing down on him. Li Lingtian shuddered and spat out a mouthful of blood. The expression on his face changed as he felt the mysterious and terrifying sword intent's pressure. At the edge of the array altar under the pond, a light shield suddenly appeared. A shocking sword intent erupted from the light shield, and the sword intent destroyed the mind. In Li Lingtian's line of sight, there was a 3-foot-long sword within the light shield. The sword was crystal clear, as transparent as glass from his previous life. The sword was 2 inches wide with a slit in the middle. On the hilt was a diamond-shaped crystal. The sword was suspended in the light shield as it spun. Streaks of white light were emitted from the sword. With the light shield enveloping the sword, Li Lingtian did not know what the white light was or what its power was. What a good sword! This pool was created for this sword. The pool concealed and suppressed the sword intent, and it took so much effort. One can imagine how important this sword is. Li Lingtian looked at the long sword before him. His desire for the sword had already been ignited in his heart, as if he had seen his beloved treasure. This was the first time he had experienced such a situation. Even when he saw the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber, he did not have such a feeling. Perhaps it was because he had a natural fondness for swords after cultivating sword essence. Divine sense? No, that will blast me into an idiot. Break the formation? No, unless I'm an idiot. Looking at the long sword in the light shield, Li Lingtian's mind raced as he tried to think of a way to retrieve the long sword. However, he did not dare to test it out even though he had thought of many methods. His cultivation had reached the martial king realm, so he was definitely not a rookie. Even a martial emperor might not be as meticulous as him. Naturally, he would not be stupid enough to rashly use this long sword. Sword intent. Li Lingtian had a flash of inspiration. He was attracted by the sword intent. Since his divine consciousness and the array formation were not working, he might as well try the sword intent. With that, he activated his divine sense and his aura suddenly changed. A sword intent appeared in the pool, and he was like a sharp sword. The water in the pond started to twist, and the sword will spread out and quickly rush towards the light shield. CC. When the sword intent came into contact with the light shield, it produced a sizzling sound. Li Lingtian was stunned, because the shocking sword intent on the light shield was rapidly surging towards him. The shocking sword intent was many times stronger than the one he had cultivated. The light shield gradually weakened and the long sword trembled. Li Lingtian spat out a mouthful of blood. Boom! His mind was in a state of shock. The long sword trembled, and the light shield disappeared completely. The white light emitted by the long sword illuminated the entire pool, and the entire pool was white. Tianyu sword. Li Lingtian's face was filled with shock. He had never expected that this long sword was the legendary sky sword. The sword intent of the Tianyu sword quickly entered his body. He could only use his own sword intent to slowly devour the other party's sword intent and fuse them together. He circulated the heaven and earth reincarnation technique, and the true dragon body barrier protected his body. His powerful divine sense resisted the corrosion of the sword intent. What shocked him was that the blood he had just spat out was absorbed by the Tianyu sword, as if it had gained life. Seeing this situation, he hardened his heart and sacrificed a drop of blood essence, quickly pressing it towards the Tianyu sword. Since the sword intent was eroding him, why not subdue it? At least the Tianyu sword would not destroy him. Chi. After the Tianyu sword obtained the blood essence, blood vessels appeared on the crystal-clear sword body, just like a person's meridians. In the end, they disappeared and returned to their previous appearance. The entire process only took a few seconds. Just as the blood essence was being absorbed, Li Lingtian's divine consciousness was connected to the Tianyu sword, as if it was a living being. Boom! The cosmic sword emitted an astonishing radiance. With a loud boom, the pool water surged into the sky as the cosmic sword shot out. When Li Lingtian saw this, he shot out as well and quickly gave chase. Tang Ziming was still feeling shy. She did not expect brother Lingtian to take off his clothes in front of her. It was so embarrassing. At this moment, the calm water in the pond rose into the sky, and a white shadow shot out. Immediately, a destructive sword intent was emitted, and she was thrown out. The water of the pond rose to a height of 1,000 meters. Countless Sky Cloud sex warriors saw this scene and were shocked. Announce AV Group 6072422992. Chapter 146. Chapter 146. Something happened to Tang Qingyue. Chapter 146. Something happened to Tang Qingyue. As expected, you didn't disappoint me. The birth of the Tianyu sword has shaken the world. In Sky Cloud Sec's Forbidden Grounds, a middle-aged man looked at the situation at Sky Cloud Peak with excitement. No one had been able to take out the Sky Cloud sword for tens of thousands of years in Sky Cloud Sect. He didn't expect someone to really take it out. Heaven-destroying sword formation. I didn't expect you to really cultivate sword intent. But this is only the beginning. One hope you'll be careful. In the library, the seemingly ordinary old man said indifferently, his eyes flashing with a sharp light. The Tianyu sword soared into the sky while Li Lingtian followed closely behind. He grabbed it with one hand and unleashed his divine consciousness to control the Tianyu sword. When they finally landed, the pond water returned to the pond, and the sword essence of Tianyu Peak burst out. Li Lingtian did not care about the fact that he was not wearing any clothes. He quickly absorbed the sword intent, and it took half an hour for Tianyu Peak to regain its peace. Big brother Lingtian. At that moment, Tang Ziming ran over and looked at Li Lingtian with concern. She had completely forgotten that Li Lingtian was naked. I'm fine. I didn't expect that the Tianyu sword would actually be in my Tianyu Peak. Li Lingtian wiped it with one hand and the aura on it vanished. A spell seal was cast to temporarily seal the sword's consciousness and aura of the Tianyu sword. When he saw Tang Ziming's appearance with one hand, his eyes widened. Tang Ziming was drenched from head to toe. She had been drenched by the pool water just now. Her delicate body and ample breasts were almost ready to burst out. She thought to herself, this little girl is only 16 years old. How did she develop so well? You're still looking? It's all because of you. Meng Meng is big brother Ling Tian's woman. Look. Tang Ziming felt extremely shy when she saw Li Lingtian's gaze. She was drenched from head to toe, revealing her exquisite body and full chest to Li Lingtian. However, when she thought about how she was big brother Ling Tian's fiancée, and how she liked big brother Ling Tian, it didn't matter if she looked at him. She was already his, so why would she care about looking at him? Furthermore, she still had clothes on her. After saying that, she pouted her rosy lips and puffed out her chest. Instantly, Li Lingtian's blood boiled as he felt the urge to execute this little girl on the spot. However, when she thought of the current situation, she quickly took out a set of clothes from the divine dragon ring and put them on. Tang Ziming's clothes were also drenched. Big brother Ling Tian, turn around. Tang Ziming noticed that Li Lingtian had changed his clothes and her own clothes were drenched. If she returned like this, she would definitely be laughed at by Qingping and Xiao Xiao. With that said, she cast a restriction in a hidden spot and instructed Li Lingtian to turn around. She wanted to change her clothes. Although she liked Li Lingtian and considered herself his wife, she was still a 16-year-old girl. Li Lingtian smiled as he turned around. With a wave of his hand, a restriction spell enveloped Tang Ziming and she disappeared from sight. He did not want others to see Tang Ziming's beautiful body. After casting such a restriction, even a martial emperor would not be able to see it. A moment later, Tang Ziming walked out of the restriction and changed into a beautiful set of light purple clothes. Coupled with her fair skin and pure temperament, she looked like a goddess from the 9 heavens. 2. Let's go back quickly. Otherwise, the two little girls will be worried again. Li Lingtian said when he saw Tang Ziming getting dressed. The two of them had been here for more than half an hour, and they must have known about the commotion. Yes. Tang Ziming nodded obediently before she went forward to hold Li Lingtian's arm. The two of them headed toward the Tianyu Pavilion. When they returned to Tianyu Pavilion, the two little girls were indeed waiting at the entrance worriedly. They were overjoyed to see Li Lingtian and Tang Ziming return. Under the two little girls' questioning, the meal passed happily. After dinner, Li Lingtian chatted with Tang Ziming for a while before returning to his room. He did not expect to obtain the Tianyu sword and he had to subdue it now. At the very least, the weapon had to recognize its master. If it could not be used, it would take its time. The Sky Sword, one of the legendary 5 great saint weapons of the divine martial continent. The fusion of the 5 saint weapons is enough to destroy the world. However, the 5 saint weapons are scattered in the divine martial continent, and no one has ever obtained them. Any one of them is a supreme saint weapon. One never thought that the Tianyu sword would actually be in my Tianyu peak. I wonder what kind of power it will have after the 5 saint weapons fuse together? Li Lingtian looked at the Tianyu sword. He knew quite a bit about ancient secrets or he would not be so shocked. Although it was only a saint weapon, which was one level lower than his Celestial Extreme Tyrant Saber and Roaring Dragon Combat Halberd, after the 5 saint weapons were combined, it would become an ancient divine weapon. The people of Sky Cloud Sect should have known that the Sky Cloud Sword was on Sky Cloud Peak, but no one could take it away. I didn't expect it to be mine. Li Lingtian felt a sense of warmth in his heart. Becoming the Sky Pavilion Master was just an identity. Their true goal was to see if he had the chance to obtain the Sky Sword. Li Lingtian only needed to organize his thoughts for a moment to understand these things. Sacrifice. A trace of blood essence was released once again. One spell after another was cast on the Tianyu sword, and the Tianyu sword began to spin rapidly. If he wanted to use the Tianyu sword, he had to refine it. In the past, he could not fully use a divine weapon at the martial spirit realm. However, he was now at the martial king realm and only needed to refine a divine weapon. This made it much easier for him. Swoosh. With a soft sound, the Tianyu sword turned into sword will and disappeared from Li Lingtian's hand. Finally, it disappeared completely and entered Li Lingtian's dantian. Inside his dantian, he could see a miniature universe sword that was about an inch in size spinning continuously. Beside it was the Roaring Dragon Battle Halberd. In the dantian, the treasure could be nourished by true qi, and could also fuse with its master more tacitly. It's impossible for a martial king realm martial artist to wield the power of a saint weapon. But now, I can bring out the power of the universe sword to the effect of a supreme grade emperor weapon. In addition to the sword howl, Li Lingtian stood up. The thought of his refinement of the Tianyu sword coupled with the sword howl of the heavens and earth made him feel afraid. The ice-fire 9 heavens were tyrannical and destructive. He did not dare to use them easily. Now that he had the sword howl of the heavens and earth, he would have the strength to fight a martial arts grandmaster or martial emperor again. Li Lingtian's group of 4 cultivated freely in the Tianyu pavilion, ignoring the outside world. 3 months had passed. In just 3 months, Li Lingtian's cultivation had reached the peak of Tier 4 Warrior King. Tang Ziming's cultivation had also reached Tier 1 Warrior King, while Li Xiaoxiao and Qing Ping were Tier 5 Warrior Spirits. Li Lingtian had also gained complete control of the first stage of Ice Fire 9 Heavens. His various skills had reached their limits. His strength had increased greatly, and his mood had improved greatly. He could also refine peerless quality grade 3 medicinal pills. It was not a good day for Li Lingtian and the other 3. Li Lingtian and the other 3 were chatting in the courtyard when a voice transmission talisman appeared before Li Lingtian. Young Master Lingtian, Miss Purple Dream, something happened to Mississippi Blue Moon. The voice transmission talisman turned into ashes and a voice was heard. Li Lingtian and Tang Ziming were familiar with this voice. It was the voice of the servant from Tang Qingyue's Rhyme Tea House. With a wave of his hand, the restriction was opened, and a young girl flew over. Young Master Lingtian, Miss Purple Dream, Miss Blue Moon has been taken away by Wu Tian. Lu Min's tears immediately flowed out when she saw Li Lingtian and the others. She looked extremely anxious. Oh. Speak slowly. Don't be anxious. What happened? Li Lingtian was anxious as well, but he could not afford to scare the young lady since she was only a warrior. When Wu Tian found out that Miss Blue Moon had given her own blood to young Master Lingtian, he was furious and forcefully took Miss Blue Moon away, saying that she was going back to the Azure continent. Miss gave this to me 2 days ago and said that if anything happened to her, she would give this to Miss Purple Dream. Lu Min handed a jade slip to Li Lingtian. Although this jade slip was for Tang Ziming, she understood that Tang Ziming was Li Lingtian's fiancé, and it was more suitable for Li Lingtian. Wu Tian Zhenren Songzhou Dishi Lingfeng. Li Lingtian received the jade slip and sent his divine consciousness into it. His expression changed drastically before he handed the jade slip to Tang Ziming. When Tang Ziming saw the information in the jade slip, tears rolled down her face. Li Lingtian now understood that Tang Qingyue was the fiancé of the eldest young master of the Dishi family in the Tsong continent, while Dishi Lingfeng was already a 7th-level martial emperor. 16 years ago, Dishi Lingfeng had discovered Tang Qingyue's own body. Tang Qingyue became Dishi Lingfeng's fiancé, a super martial emperor. No one could resist her, and the Tang family had no choice but to agree. Tang Qingyue had been cultivating in Sky Cloud sect. In this way she could use Sky Cloud sect's power to control Dishi family. Although Sky Cloud sect and Dishi family were not on the same level, Sky Cloud sect could use the Iron Law to suppress Dishi family. All these years the Dishi family didn't take Tang Qingyue away, but let a super powerful warrior watch over her. Dishi Lingfeng wanted to get the blood of Extreme Yin, when he was a level 9 martial emperor, and break through to the martial honored realm. This was also the reason why the Dishi family did not take Tang Qingyue away. However, in order to save Li Lingtian, Tang Qingyue had given him her only drop of ultimate Yin blood. When Wu Tian found out about it, he forcefully took Tang Qingyue back to the Azure continent. One only hoped that Mengmeng will be happy. Take good care of Mengmeng. Don't interfere in my matters. I'll give you that drop of Yin blood. I don't regret it. The last sentence in the jade slip made Li Lingtian's heart ache. Last time at Yunming restaurant, Tang Qingyue had forced him to flee in embarrassment. He had thought that something was wrong with Tang Qingyue, but he didn't expect it to be so serious. The Azure continent was a powerful existence, many times more powerful than the Eastern Spirit Azure continent. Even the entire Azure continent couldn't compete with the Dishi family of the Azure continent. Miss knew what was going to happen after she returned to Sky Cloud sect, so she gave me this jade slip to keep. Lu Min looked at Li Lingtian and the rest's expressions before she spoke softly. It turned out that Tang Qingyue had already known that this day would come, which was why she had given the jade slip to Lu Min. Chapter 147 Chapter 147 The Thunderclap City. Chapter 147 The Thunderclap City. Come. Let's head to the Azure Continent. Li Lingtian pondered for a moment. Tang Qingyue was willing to offend the Dishi family in order to give him the ultimate Yin blood. He understood that Tang Qingyue was a virgin. If it was just for Tang Zimeng, she would definitely not do this. She did not regret it. Even a fool would understand what she meant. She could offend the Dishi family for him without any regrets. She had lived 2 lives, so she had nothing to be afraid of. The Dishi family was powerful and she had to face it too. Young Master Lingtian, Miss said that the Dishi family won't dare to touch her for the time being. If you go like this, you won't stand a chance. Lu Min thought about it for a while. She remembered Tang Qingyue talking to herself once. Although she didn't understand it at that time, now that something like this had happened, she naturally understood. Misfortunes never come alone. Just as the few of them were deep in thought, another voice transmission talisman came to the Tianyu Pavilion. Sky Dragon Empire's Nangong Lin greets the Sky Pavilion Pavilion Master. 700,000 troops of Marquis Pingbei are trapped in the Thunderclap City. We hope that Pavilion Master Tianyu can provide assistance. Li Lingtian looked at the voice transmission talisman in front of him. With a sweep of his divine perception, he tapped a drop of blood essence. This voice transmission talisman was an encrypted voice transmission talisman. It could only be activated by receiving the blood essence of the voice transmission talisman. Otherwise, this voice transmission talisman would automatically be destroyed. Upon receiving the news, Li Lingtian's expression changed drastically as he spat out a mouthful of blood. How did these 2 things come together? One was the love of a beautiful woman, and the other was his father being surrounded. How could such things happen together? The Thunderclap City was originally garrisoned with hundreds of thousands of troops. This time, the Marquis of Pingbei had even brought a large army with him. How could they be surrounded? Marquis Pingbei's strength was not weak. He used his troops like a god and had never been defeated. Even a fool would understand that Jinglei's accident this time was definitely caused by martial artists joining the battle. Humph, anyone who dares to touch my family, even if you're a god, I'll send you to the 18th level of hell. Li Lingtian said coldly. He tossed a pill into his mouth to calm his mind and began to think calmly. Tang Zimeng took out a silk handkerchief to wipe away the blood on Li Lingtian's lips. At this moment, she could only rely on Li Lingtian. Xiao Xiao and Qing Ping will stay in Sky Peak. Meng Meng and I will go to Sky Dragon City now. Li Lingtian's mind spun rapidly as he sorted out the situation. In the end, he said seriously that it was impossible for him to head to the Azure Continent with his current strength. He had to go to Sky Dragon City to understand the situation and resolve the matter in Thunderclap City. When the war began, millions of soldiers would fight each other. Li Suifeng was only a 9th-level martial king. He would not be able to resist such a large army, let alone the enemy's super experts. Don't worry, young master. Li Xiaoxiao and Qing Ping both respectfully agreed. They understood that with their cultivation, they would only be a burden to their young master, let alone help him. Li Lingtian gave some pills and spiritual stones to the 2 of them, so that Lu Min could cultivate at Tianyu Peak. These spirit stones and medicinal pills were enough for them to cultivate to the martial king realm. After arranging everything, Li Lingtian left Tianyu Peak on the Heavenly Cloud spaceship and headed straight for Sky Dragon City. The Sky Cloud flying ship flew at full speed, and it only took half a day to reach Sky Dragon City from Sky Cloud Sect. On the spaceship, Tang Zimeng's mood was slightly better because her sister would not be in any danger for the time being. As long as brother Lingtian was around, she did not have to worry about these things. Big brother Lingtian, do you like my big sister? Tang Zimeng leaned into Li Lingtian's arms and looked up at him with a serious expression. What are you thinking, little girl? Li Lingtian was taken aback. He did not expect the little girl to say something like that. He was momentarily at a loss for words. Tang Qingyue was indeed a peerless beauty in the world. She and Tang Ziming had their own merits, but he did not have such thoughts in his heart at all. However, Tang Ziming's question reminded him of Tang Qingyue. It would be a lie to say that he was not tempted. No one would not be tempted by such a beauty. Even a eunuch would be tempted by such a beauty. In fact, my sister has never agreed to this marriage, but Dishi family is too powerful. If she doesn't agree, our Tang family will disappear. During this period of time, I've noticed that although sister is very fierce towards you, Mengmeng knows that sister has feelings for you. Actually, Mengmeng doesn't want big sister to marry into the Azure continent. She wants to be with big sister forever, with big brother Ling Tian forever, with the three of us together. Tang Ziming said softly as her beautiful eyes were fixed on Li Lingtian. In the divine martial continent, where the strong were respected, having 3 wives and 4 concubines was a common occurrence. Let's settle these 2 matters first. Sister Qingyue, we grew up together. One don't want her to suffer. Li Lingtian was shocked. He did not expect the little girl to think that way. Who did not like beautiful women? However, he did not want to be a playboy. He didn't know what kind of feelings he had for Tang Qingyue. Was it gratitude or something else? He couldn't explain it clearly. The 2 of them were deep in thought on the flying ship. The flying ship flew at high speed, and Sky Dragon City was in sight. Li Lingtian from the North Marquis residence has something important to discuss with the Emperor. Kill him without mercy. Li Lingtian's voice rang out in the distance. His voice traveled to Sky Dragon City and countless warriors heard it. The patrolling members at the city gate were also shocked. They did not dare to stop the huge flying ship in the sky. The flying ship directly entered Sky Dragon City from the sky and arrived above the Imperial Palace in the blink of an eye. Countless martial artists in Sky Dragon Great City were shocked when they saw the huge spaceship flying in the sky. This was the first time a spaceship flew directly above Sky Dragon Great City. The spaceship landed in front of the palace. Li Lingtian pulled Tang Ziming down from the spaceship and with a wave of his hand, the spaceship was put away and they headed straight for the palace's main entrance. Greetings, young noble Ling Tian. Countless guards greeted Li Lingtian respectfully upon his arrival without any obstruction. After entering the palace, he arrived at the Heavenly Dragon Palace. There were already countless generals discussing in the palace. Li Lingtian has something to discuss. Li Lingtian shouted from the front of the hall before he walked in. He knew that it was about the matter in Thunderclap City when he saw the grave expressions on the faces of the numerous generals. Please sit. Nangong Haoming's expression was calm when he saw Li Lingtian enter. He was no longer bothered by Li Lingtian's casual attitude. Someone like him would not care about such formalities. The reason why the Thunderclap City was besieged by the Tianjin Empire was mainly because of the participation of countless experts from the Tianjin Empire. One don't know why, but the Thunderclap City was only besieged and not attacked. There are 1.8 million troops from both sides of the Thunderclap City. With the power of the Tiger Legion of Tianjin Empire, our army will definitely not be able to defeat them in a great battle. One of the generals spoke up and told him about the situation in the Thunderclap City. Li Lingtian listened from the side. He only needed to know the truth of the matter. As long as the news was true that Thunderclap City was besieged, he would head to Thunderclap City. He didn't care about anything else. At the very least, his father couldn't be harmed. Your Majesty, you can discuss the matters of the Thunderclap City. One will take my leave first. Li Lingtian stood up and excused himself after listening for a while. Although no one present heard that Li Lingtian was heading to Thunderclap City, those who understood him knew that Li Lingtian was only here to confirm the authenticity of the news. Li Lingtian brought Tang Ziming around Pingbei Marquis residence and the Tang family. After understanding some things, he flew toward Thunderclap City with Tang Ziming. Thunderclap City. Sky Dragon Empire's military stronghold was easy to defend but difficult to attack. However, it was actually surrounded by Tianjin Empire this time. The people of Sky Dragon Empire couldn't see through this matter. Since they had taken down Thunderclap City, they should send their troops down and attack the other cities of Sky Dragon Empire. Now that the Tianjin Empire's army had surrounded the Jing Thunder City without making a move, there must be something going on. Moreover, this matter was related to the Jing Thunder City. Sky Dragon City was 30,000 miles away from Thunderclap City. However, compared to the speed of the Heavenly Cloud spaceship, it was only a day's journey. Li Lingtian stowed away the spaceship when they arrived thousands of miles away from Thunderclap City. He then landed with Tang Ziming and extended his divine consciousness to survey the surroundings. In Thunderclap City, Sky Dragon Empire had 700,000 troops, while Tianjin Empire had 1,000,000 troops. Sky Dragon Empire's army was trapped in Thunderclap City. It was impossible for them to enter. What made Li Lingtian feel uneasy was that there were still 300,000 troops stationed at Thunderclap Peak near Thunderclap City. Even if he didn't know how to use the army, he knew that such a garrison was against the rules of the art of war. No one would give up on the plains to defend the mountain peak. The Thunderclap City was surrounded, and they did not care about what was happening in the Thunderclap Peak. Now they actually sent 300,000 troops to defend the Thunderclap Peak. It appeared to be a response to the Sky Dragon Empire's reinforcements, but in Li Lingtian's eyes, it was undoubtedly a futile attempt. A diversion. Could it be that Tianjin Empire's target is not Sky Dragon Empire's Thunderclap City, but this Thunderclap Peak? Li Lingtian was shocked when he thought of this. What could make Tianjin Empire mobilize millions of troops to deal with Thunderclap City? Mengmeng, hide here. 1 foot 11 inches, go take a look. Li Lingtian whispered to Tang Ziming before he handed Little White to her. With Little White's defense and strength, he could escape even if he were to face a martial emperor. Then he turned into a gust of wind and flew into the distance. He came to a hidden place and looked at the countless soldiers. A sense of shock rose in his heart. This was the first time he had seen an army of hundreds of thousands. How could he not be shocked? Tis. With a flash of his body, he found an opportunity. A warrior soldier fell to the ground, grabbed with one hand and disappeared. When he reappeared, Li Lingtian had transformed into a soldier from Tianjin Empire. With this armor he could enter the Thunderclap Peak. The 300,000-strong army surrounded the Thunderclap Peak, but there was not a single soldier in the Thunderclap Peak. Rumble! A loud explosion was heard at Thunderclap Peak. Shocked, Li Lingtian's body flashed as he sprinted toward the depths of the mountain. Marshal Uncle Lu, the array formation can only last for half an hour. If it's half an hour later, the array formation will automatically recover. At the bottom of a precipice in the depths of the Thunderclap Peak, more than 10 warriors were surrounding an array altar, waving their hands continuously. The array altar trembled rapidly, and electric arcs flashed in the sky, like the prelude to a storm. Chapter 148 Chapter 148 Scheming Against a Martial Emperor. Chapter 148 Scheming Against a Martial Emperor. Alright, you guys stay here. 1 foot 11 inches, bring the Thunderclap wings out in half an hour. Lu Yunfei looked at the trembling array altar and revealed an excited expression. His entire body emitted a powerful aura. Let me in. An old man said coldly when he saw Lu Yunfei entering the array altar. Qinming, one was the one who discovered this treasure first. You're only responsible for diverting Sky Dragon Empire's attention. Besides, this treasure is needed by His Majesty. Neither of us are qualified to have the Thunderclap wings. Lu Yunfei saw that Qinming wanted to take the credit and was instantly unhappy. His face revealed a vicious expression. I'm just trying to divert Sky Dragon Empire's attention. But if it weren't for my million-strong army, do you think you would still be here? If those old guys from Sky Dragon Empire knew about this, Tianjin Empire wouldn't even be able to touch this treasure. Qinming coldly spoke. He had no intention of backing down. The dozen or so formation masters at the edge of the formation altar all revealed bitter expressions. If they continued to argue like this, they could forget about obtaining the treasures inside. Martial Emperor. 2 third-level Martial Emperors. F***CK, they actually caused a confrontation between the two armies over a treasure. Li Lingtian, who was hiding in the distance, finally understood what was going on. Tianjin Empire had discovered the Thunderclap wings on Thunderclap Peak, and had not hesitated to surround Thunderclap City with an army to seize the treasure. Indeed, if an expert entered Sky Dragon Empire and activated the array to seize the treasures, the 4 sects and the 10 families would definitely not stand by and watch. With the presence of the army, the attention of the 4 sects and the 10 families would be diverted. No one would know that the experts of Tianjin Empire were here to steal the treasures. He actually came to Sky Dragon Empire to look for treasures. Damn it. When Li Lingtian saw 2 martial emperors competing for the treasure in his Sky Dragon Empire, he was displeased even though he did not know how powerful the Thunderclap wings were. In his previous life, his country had been invaded by foreign powers, and his citizens had suffered a fiery life. They killed his citizens and robbed his national treasures. In his heart, he hated traitors and the enemy's fierce gazes the most. In his previous life, he had been hot-blooded, but there was nothing he could do. Now this was a world where the strong were respected. He would definitely not watch his empire be violated and humiliated. Qinming, this is Sky Dragon Empire. After I go in and find the Thunderclap wings, the credit will be ours. How about it? Lu Yunfei also understood that if this continued, the array would be closed, and their efforts would be in vain. Instead, they would benefit Sky Dragon Empire. Let's go in together. Qinming pondered for a moment. In any case, there were 300,000 soldiers guarding this place. No one would come here at all. Even if Sky Dragon Empire's army came to help, they would not be able to take it down in a short period of time. Alright, that's it. Lu Yunfei thought for a moment. Both of them were 3rd-level martial emperors. It was impossible for the other party to give up. Then, the 2 of them came to the edge of the array altar and looked at it carefully. This formation only lasts for half an hour. Guard the formation well. Qinming glanced at the 14 martial arts sect disciples. The 14 martial arts sect disciples did not have the slightest fear even when facing this million-strong army. This was because martial arts grandmasters were forbidden from joining the army's war. A war between martial arts grandmasters would easily destroy the world. How could ordinary armies withstand such destruction? This was also the ironclad rule of the 4 great empires of Eastern Spirit Azure continent. No country dared to violate this rule. Martial arts grandmasters were equivalent to nuclear weapons. Every country had martial arts grandmasters, so naturally, they would not easily violate the rules. The dozen or so martial arts grandmasters could only hide in the army. Even during the Great War of the Empire, martial arts grandmasters would only secretly kill the higher-ups of the other party's military. Yes, disciple. The 14 martial arts grandmasters said respectfully. They cursed in their hearts. If they delayed any longer, this array would be closed. Swoosh! The array altar exploded, and a ball of blue light appeared. The light was like electric arcs that appeared in the air from time to time. Qinming and Lu Yunfei disappeared. They had already entered the array altar. They should be below the Thunderclap Peak. Li Lingtian watched as the 2 martial emperors entered the array. A cruel smile appeared on his face. Step by step, he walked towards the array altar. He calculated in his heart that he had to suppress all these martial arts grandmasters in one strike to avoid alerting the army outside. Who let you in? Why aren't you getting lost? A martial arts grandmaster powerhouse shouted at Li Lingtian when he saw him. He thought that Li Lingtian was a soldier from Tianjin Empire since he was dressed in the same uniform. You're courting death. Li Lingtian's face was icy cold. With a flick of his divine consciousness, the space around him trembled. Boom! A shocking demonic power burst out, and the pressure of the demonic power directly suppressed more than 10 martial arts grandmasters, making them unable to move at all. Silver Wing Flying Dragon. This is Senior Uncle Beichen's mount. Your young master Lingtian, Li Lingtian. Why are you here? How is that possible? How did you know about this place? A dozen martial arts grandmaster powerhouses revealed terrified expressions. They used their true essence to resist the pressure of the Silver Wing Flying Dragon, but no matter how they used their true essence, they could not move at all. Some time ago, the news of Sky Dragon Empire's young master Ling Tian killing Beichen Wuyo had spread throughout Tianjin Empire. Ling Tian had become the first target to be killed in Tianjin Empire. The silver-winged flying dragon belonged to Beichen Wuyo. After Beichen Wuyo's death, the silver-winged flying dragon was obtained by Ling Tian. Now that he had seen the silver-winged flying dragon, he naturally recognized Ling Tian. Killed, Ling Tian said coldly. He had no interest in these martial arts grandmasters. He made a killing gesture with one hand as a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Roar! With a deep roar, the silver-winged flying dragon's martial emperor-level pressure pressed down fiercely. Its huge body turned into a shadow and swept towards the dozen martial arts grandmasters. Rumble! 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 Level 5 Level 4 was equivalent to a Level 4 martial emperor. It was a whole realm higher than these martial arts grandmasters. Naturally, it was like killing ants. In the blink of an eye, the 14 martial arts grandmasters were beaten into nothingness. Ling Tian watched as more than a dozen martial arts grandmasters died. His body flashed as he collected the fallen martial arts grandmaster storage pouches with a strange smile on his face. Wait a minute. If one of them comes out, no matter who it is, kill him immediately. Ling Tian looked at the array altar as he spoke to the silver-winged flying dragon beside him. At the same time, he activated his divine consciousness and summoned the jade-eyed beast and multicolored beast. The three demonic beasts and Ling Tian surrounded the array altar as they paid close attention to it. After giving his instructions, he raised his mental strength to the peak and used Ice Fire Death, the first layer of the 9 heavens. In his hands, a ball of flames and a glacier formed. As long as someone came out, he would attack with all his strength. With the power of his Ice Fire 9 heavens and the strength of the 3 demonic beasts, even a third-level martial emperor would lose half his life if he did not die. Seconds ticked by. The sky outside was calm and there was not a single movement. Ling Tian's entire body had entered a state of clarity, and his attacks were at their peak. The 3 demonic beasts also withdrew their pressure, but they made a killing stance. Boom! The array altar trembled, and the blue light trembled. Electric arcs flashed in the sky, and at the same time, the blue light of the array altar erupted with all kinds of electric arcs. A figure appeared on the array altar. However, Ling Tian could not believe his eyes when he saw the figure. Qin Ming looked like he had been struck by lightning. His hair was upside down and his clothes were torn. He looked like a beggar. Ice Fire 9 heavens death. Roar! 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 In his shock, he didn't forget to attack. The 9 heavens of ice and fire that he had prepared for a long time ruthlessly blasted out. A beam of light directly blasted onto Qin Ming's body on the array altar. All. I'm not willing to accept this. With a miserable cry, for destructive attacks landed on his body. Qin Ming also noticed the arrival of the attacks, but when he saw the power of the 4 attacks, despair appeared in his heart. He didn't have the chance to retaliate and was blasted into pieces in the blink of an eye. Originally, he had already exhausted his true essence by subduing the thunderclap wings below, and was even struck by lightning. As soon as he came out, he was killed by the other party's attack without any reaction. The earth-shattering explosion and screams shook the 300,000-strong army. An electric arc shot into the sky from the thunderclap peak. Ling Tian had used up most of his true qi when he unleashed Ice Fire 9 heavens. With a flick of his divine consciousness, he took out a jade bottle and put a drop of the 1,000-year stalactite milk into his mouth. He had recovered more than half of his jinqi, so he didn't dare to use the heaven-defying pill now. He grabbed a storage bag with one hand and put it into the divine dragon ring without hesitation. At this moment, another figure shot out and floated in the air in fear. Looking at the 3 demonic beasts and Ling Tian in front of the array altar, he was shocked to find Qin Mingyi had been beaten into nothingness. Silver-winged flying dragon. Ling Tian, your F***ing courting death. How dare you plot against us? Hand over your storage pouch and one will spare your life. Lu Yunfei looked at the situation below, and the riot of the 300,000 troops. This kind of commotion shook the million troops. Furthermore, The thunderclap wings that he had just obtained had fallen into Li Lingtian's hands. How could he not be furious? Both Sky Dragon Empire and Tianjin Empire knew that they could recognize Li Lingtian when they saw the silver-winged flying dragon. F*CKU, are you stupid or are you in a daze? Looking for treasures in my Sky Dragon Empire? Aren't you courting death? Now that the thunderclap wings are in my hands, do you still want to go back? Today you'll stay in Sky Dragon Empire forever. Li Lingtian laughed out loud. With a wave of his hand, the multicolored beast was recalled. In a flash, he was on top of the silver-wing flying dragon. The silver-wing flying dragon soared into the sky and flew toward Lu Yunfei. The jade-eyed beast also quickly shot out. Roaring Dragon Battle Halberd. Li Lingtian extended his hand and the Roaring Dragon Combat Halberd appeared in his hand. With a swing of the halberd, he looked like a god of war descending as the silver-wing flying dragon swiftly flew toward Lu Yunfei. Chapter 149 Chapter 149 Emperor's Mountain and River Painting. Chapter 149 Emperor's Mountain and River Painting. Dragon Chi burst out, and the Roaring Dragon Battle Halberd tore through the space. A destructive attack smashed toward Lu Yunfei. Skydrop Fist. Rumble. Lu Yunfei was shocked when he saw the silver-wing flying dragon and Li Lingtian arrive. He was well aware of the silver-wing flying dragon's strength. Even if he was at his peak, he might not be able to defeat it. Now that his true essence was depleted, it was impossible for him to defeat the silver-wing flying dragon. Furthermore, there was the terrifying Li Lingtian. With such a combination, he had no chance of winning. However, he was unwilling to accept the fact that the thunderclap wings were in Li Lingtian's hands. He had spent half a month to obtain the thunderclap wings, which he had spent so much effort to obtain just like that. As the punch struck out, the space trembled and instantly shattered. Endless astral winds wreaked havoc in the air. Lu Yunfei's face was filled with fear when the two attacks collided. He did not believe the legend that Li Lingtian had killed Beichen Wuyo. Now that he had struck, he understood that even if Li Lingtian could not kill Beichen Wuyo, who was a martial emperor, his strength was not something a martial grandmaster could compare to. He couldn't help but retreat 1,000 meters before stabilizing himself. He revealed a hesitant expression. The riot in the sky was noticed by the hundreds of thousands of Tianjin Empire's army. They were all shocked when they saw the silver-wing flying dragon and Lu Yunfei in the sky. Even the distant Thunderclap city could feel the space trembling. Countless soldiers looked up at the sky, their faces filled with worship and shock. It won't be so easy to leave. Let's go. Li Lingtian shouted softly. His voice was like a dragon's roar as the silver-winged flying dragon he was riding shot forward. In an instant, Lu Yunfei was flying in the sky while the silver-winged flying dragon and Jade-Eye Beast were in hot pursuit. Li Lingtian, who was on the back of the silver-winged flying dragon, unleashed a series of powerful attacks. Even if he could not kill Lu Yunfei, he could at least make the latter consume his true essence and stop to block. This way, the distance between the two was maintained at 100 meters. Rumble! Rumble! Explosions continued in the air, and the space trembled. Look! It's a martial arts grandmaster. It's not the aura of a martial grandmaster. It's the aura of a martial emperor. He's really a martial emperor. Could he be a martial emperor from Tianjin Empire? A martial monarch realm expert. A martial monarch realm expert was actually defeated and fled. Who is so powerful? Silver-wing flying dragon. It's a silver-wing flying dragon. It's young noble Ling Tian's silver-wing flying dragon. I know it. It's a silver-wing flying dragon. Young noble Ling Tian killed Beichen speechless and obtained this silver-wing flying dragon, the jade-eyed beast behind him. Young Master Ling Tian has arrived. I didn't expect young Master Ling Tian to defeat a martial monarch powerhouse. Young noble Ling Tian, young noble Ling Tian. Young noble Ling Tian, young noble Ling Tian. The Sky Dragon Empire's army in the Thunderclap City was shocked when they saw the battle in the sky. Many soldiers recognized that the powerhouse in the air was a martial monarch powerhouse, and the person behind him was young Master Ling Tian. In an instant, the morale of Sky Dragon Empire soared. The soldiers of Tianjin Empire were stunned when they saw their own martial emperor being chased. Rumble! A shocking attack landed directly outside the Thunderclap city. Outside was the army of Tianjin Empire. With one attack, hundreds of thousands of soldiers were turned into pieces. Oh ah ah! Oh ah ah! Screams of agony were heard as Li Lingtian's powerful and destructive attack was something that no one below the martial arts grandmaster realm could withstand, let alone the ordinary soldiers. Li Lingtian, you'll die a horrible death. Li Lingtian, you violated the rules. You attacked the army and violated the iron law of Eastern Spirit Continent. Even a fool would know that Li Lingtian was doing this on purpose after more than 10 consecutive attacks. They did not expect such a powerhouse to attack an ordinary army and cursed out loud. Seeing this situation, Lu Yunfei also started cursing. This bastard was too despicable. Li Lingtian, martial arts grandmaster powerhouses are not allowed to attack ordinary armies. You're violating the iron law of Green Island. Lu Yunfei floated in the air and shouted loudly. His empire's million-strong army was still here. If he escaped, the thunderclap wings would be gone, and the army would all die. He used the iron law to suppress Li Lingtian so that he would not dare to attack the army after he escaped. F***ck. Mia Wu Zong. I have to make a move. Unless you commit suicide, I will slaughter your Tianjin Empire's million-strong army and destroy it. As Li Lingtian spoke, he bombarded the ground below. Shocking destructive attacks exploded among the army, causing countless troops to vanish into thin air. Lord Marquis, it's young master. It's young noble Ling Tian. I didn't expect young noble Ling Tian to chase after a martial monarch and beat him up. Look at that martial monarch. He's simply like a beggar. How embarrassing. The Heavenly Dragon Army in Thunderclap City was extremely excited when they saw Li Lingtian. Lu Yunfei was furious. Not only did his words fail to stop Li Lingtian, but they had also increased the speed of his attack. When he heard someone say that he looked like a beggar, he spat out a mouthful of blood. It was humiliating. The Tianjin Empire's army was dying one after another. They were terrified when they heard Li Lingtian's words. He could only be considered unlucky to have provoked such a person. Li Lingtian, let's have a fair fight. Do you dare? Lu Yunfei was stunned as well. Li Lingtian was at the martial king realm, so the iron law did not apply to him. If this went on, he would not be able to escape and the million-strong army would all die here. Moreover, if Li Lingtian entered Tianjin Empire, the empire would be in trouble. Do you have any shame? A martial royal realm expert wants to fight a martial king realm expert fairly? Are all the people of Tianjin Empire so shameless? What ability do you have to fight young noble Ling Tian? You really don't know shame. If I were you, I'd kill myself. There was a lot of cursing below. A martial royal realm expert actually wanted to fight a martial king realm expert fair and square. What a joke. The army of Tianjin Empire also felt embarrassed. Every soldier had the same thought in their hearts. Don't say that I know you. It's really embarrassing to know you. Alright, I won't attack them. If you have the ability, then run away. Li Lingtian declared loudly. A fair fight must be fought. There was no such thing as fairness in this world. There was only fists, and the bigger the fist, the more reason it had. Alright, you said it. Lu Yunfei was taken aback as his body shot out. Li Lingtian was stunned for a moment. The martial emperor was truly speechless at this point. What was 1,000,000 troops? His life was more important. He could not get the thunderclap wings back. It was more important for him to escape. Now that Li Lingtian had promised in front of everyone that he would not attack the Tianjin Empire's army, he would be the one to lose face if he went back on his word. Do you think it's that easy to leave? Li Lingtian shouted loudly as he slammed his body against the silver-winged flying dragon's body. His entire body shot out like a cannonball. The dragon roar battle halberd in his hand brought with it a destructive power as it smashed fiercely towards Lu Yunfei. Rumble! Rumble! In the sky, a huge battle broke out again. Lu Yunfei was also shocked. He did not expect that he did not even have the ability to escape. Roar dragon battle halberd, go to hell! The roaring dragon combat halberd turned into a shooting star and shot toward Lu Yun. Ice Fire 9 Heavens Death. The silver-winged flying dragon and the emerald eye beast took advantage of the moment when the roaring dragon combat halberd stopped Lu Yunfei and came to Lu Yunfei's front. They formed a formation and surrounded Lu Yunfei. Li Lingtian had found an opportunity as well. Relying on his powerful strength, he levitated in the air and raised his hands. A glacier and a raging flame appeared. 2 ultimate attacks appeared in the air. Lu Yunfei was utterly shocked. He had heard of Li Lingtian's power, but now that he had seen it with his own eyes, it was even more terrifying than he had imagined. Li Lingtian clasped his hands together and the space exploded with the aura of destruction and death as a beam of light shot toward him. The Emperor's mountain and river diagram. Everything in the world is illusory. Seeing this terrifying light, even if he didn't know its power, with the senses and knowledge of a martial emperor, he knew how terrifying the power of the fusion of ice and fire was. At this moment he didn't dare to hesitate. With a flick of his divine sense, a mountain and river diagram appeared in front of him. A majestic aura of mountains and rivers burst forth from the space as a shocking pressure pressed down on Li Lingtian. The Emperor's mountain and river diagram emitted a gray and ancient aura. A faint radiance shot toward Li Lingtian's light beam. Heaven and earth trembled non-stop, as if it was the end of the world. Rumble. The world shook and the space shook. Li Lingtian's body was also thrown into the air with a shocked expression on his face. At the same time, Lu Yunfei was also hit hard. The aura on the mountain and river diagram had also weakened. Not bad, not bad. This treasure is not bad, but it's a waste in your hands. Aren't you curious about how this young master could kill Beichen Wuyo? And your companion Qinming? Now 1 foot 11 inches show you what true strength is. Li Lingtian looked at Lu Yunfei in the distance. He did not seem to mind Lu Yunfei's escape. On the contrary, he revealed a smile on his face and kept commenting on the Emperor's mountain and river diagram in Lu Yunfei's hand. When he finished speaking, he threw a medicinal pill into his mouth, and his consumed true qi instantly recovered to its peak state. With one hand and one body, a transparent longsword appeared in his hand. Instantly a shocking pressure erupted. Even Lu Yunfei, who was running away, stopped because he knew that if he ran away, his back would be exposed in front of his opponent. This pressure had already exceeded his imagination. Only a super treasure could have such an aura pressure. The power of an emperor can destroy heaven and earth. He circulated his vital essence to the limit. The aura of a martial monarch. Realm expert appeared in the sky, and endless spiritual qi quickly condensed. They looked at the longsword in Li Lingtian's hand in horror. This longsword was definitely on the same level as the thunderclap wings, or even more powerful and advanced than the thunderclap wings. Forbidden technique. Forbidden technique. A martial emperor's forbidden technique. Use the heaven-locking formation. Martial monarch realm experts will be punished by the heavens if they cast a forbidden technique. Countless soldiers were shocked when they saw Lu Yunfei casting the forbidden technique. If this forbidden technique were to land, most of the soldiers in the entire Thunderclap city would be wiped out. A martial emperor forbidden technique. What a pity. Beichen Wuyo was killed by me because he used a forbidden technique in Sky Dragon Empire. You can only blame yourself for repeating the same mistake. Sword howl, heaven and earth. Li Lingtian said coldly as a shocking sword will burst forth from his body. Indeed, it was sword will. He was like a sharp sword standing proudly between heaven and earth. All the martial artists below worshipped him. This was a true expert. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.